It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. Short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. Short bus Saturday.
The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
Yo, 1212, what's cracking with y'all, man? What's happening? GG, man, you tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chases, man. Word up. I want to give a shout out first of all to all the haters out there, man. Peace out to y'all, man. I hope you're having a good afternoon. As you come in, man, could you please, hit the bell notification button, the subscribe button, and the like button, man. All that. You know what I'm saying? Please. And as usual, man, I like to go through the roll call, man, and shout out all the people who support the Green Gorilla channel, man. So shout out to Andre416, man. Appreciate your new membership, bro. Straight up. Shout out to Katunde Bowden, man, for his new membership, man. Appreciate that. Also, I want to shout out Bimrock, Brotherly Love, Damian H for his new membership. Appreciate that. Shout out to Passport OG, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Rashid Barnes, Blacksword 404, DF, Raiz Moorjid, Ben Cannon Kenton, and Sherlin Woe. Big up, man. Leon, Artisan MC, Dub Will, Mr. Good Dad, Dardar, Third Coast X, Roderick Jackson, Michael Ross, 63rd Samurai, Divine Love Ridge, and Ishmael Shamad, man. Big up. The Watcher, Hostile Adept, The Ruthless, Heartless Revelator, Kill the Game, Dr. Thunder, Jason Hills, Charles Finney, Interesting Thought, It's Always Jermaine, Naomi Gary, and Jay Cleveland Green. Big up. The Toxic Masculinist, Pulpit 28, Broken Blade, Larry R, Seth Son, Afro Troop TV, Show Me, Spain Man, Seventh Coast Dojo, Anthony Davis, and I'm Just Jules. Big up. And Honest Look, Ricky Dawson, Stefan, True 7360, Mr. Me Too, Call for President, Gold Professor, AKs and Curtains, H-Town, Roguish the Billmonger, and Adrian Thomas. Big up. Electrician 480, Binga, Cutting Up with the Jones, Zanko, D. Scott, Path Guy, Pete Rock, Aaron Peters, Vince Lindsay, Quiz the Poet, and Black Wizard 80OS. Big up. Jaztec, Shadow Observer, Troy Warren, Mrs. KP Bailey, Alan Wiley, The Face, Life of Commerce, AI Apostle, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, and Marvin Battle Jr. Big up. Adam, Ignatz Mouse, Dr. Tree 33, 77 Base X, Brian McMurray, Karen S., Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Greg, and Barry Little. Big up. Mr. Valentino, Cameron 87, Dr. Rock, Mark Swift, Odd Collard, Donald Watts, Coach Hotep, and Old Soul Chief. Big up, man. Mr. Blue Collar, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178, Aaron Smith, DH, A-Double, Kalan Jakala, and W. Pura 1, man. Big up. And I can't forget the brethren in the next plane of existence, man. David Carroll, Forrest Windu, and Kevin Samuels, man. Big up, man. Real talk. Also, on my Patreon side, Robert Wicks, Shine Language, Chris Flowers, Christopher Burton, Daxby, The Tetrahedron, J-Live, Rashawn Phillips Searles, Keith Bass, Nick, Albert C., Dr. Ben Vincent, I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Preserve Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Jay Bailey, Mr. Meach, Mo Mal, and the Sangwa. Big up. Appreciate all your help, man. Y'all deserve a round of applause, man. And if you're wondering how you could also become a member of the Green Gorilla channel, man, here's how you do it. I'll be back. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. Oh, yeah. I'm back in effect, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm in full effect mode, like the old school Al B. Sure. You feel me? Brought a guest along, you know what I'm saying, joining me. My partner in crime, man, Marcus Aurelius. Keep it 100. What's cracking, bro?
Yo, what's going on, peoples? What's happening?
What's happening in?
What's happening in?
What's happening in?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
I want to shout out to all the people out there in the chat. Ryan Matthews, man, shout out to him. 7 Ann, shout out to her. I assume that 7 Ann is what that means, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Mr. Suge, to you, you know what I'm saying? I hope you ain't breaking them off like the old school Suge, man, from Death Row, man. But hey, you know, Dave Towle, shout out to him. Excalibur, Louis Conyer, Spain Man, Indigo Flow, Excalibur, Walima Ra X, shout out to him. Asada
shout out to
Muhammad, shout out to her. I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Ignatz Mouse, big up to him. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all y'all, man. I hope y'all having a pleasant and a good one out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all, man. Thank you so much for being here. You know what I'm saying? Got to give y'all a round of applause, man. Thank y'all for being here, man. But you know, it's time to roll out, you know, what we supposed to do here, man. Today I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger. Not because I feel like I'm bigger than my homies and shit. You know what I'm saying? But only so I can... so I can roll out what the fuck we came here to do, baby. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and get to it, man.
Let's go.
I don't chase booty.
Go ahead, brother.
If I got to chase my wife, then I'm gonna have to keep chasing her to keep her.
That's right. That's right.
You men that chase women, the moment you start chasing that woman, you're gonna have to keep chasing her.
Keep it up.
That keep her. You're gonna have to keep it up.
That's right.
And once she see you chasing her, she gonna deliberately do things that make you run her down.
That's right.
I won't never chase a woman long as I'm black.
No.
And as far as I know, God ain't changing my color.
Yes,
What's
sir.
your reaction? Huh?
So I just did a series of shorts that I haven't dropped all of them yet, but they coming, so look out for them. That kind of like go right along with this right here, man. You know, yeah, absolutely. If you chase, you're gonna have to keep chasing.
I'm just trying to figure out what church is this?
The
They don't sound like the churches I go to, man.
Church of Pimp is Christ.
Pimp is Christ, baby.
Pimp is Christ, baby.
He said, I don't chase booty. Oh, man, that shit was hilarious when I said, bro.
Hold my drink, bitch.
No, but I think, you know, look, man, he's being accurate, though, man. You shouldn't be chasing around chicks, man. You know what I'm saying? Because all they're going to do is keep you on a wild goose chase, for real. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a real simple one, man. Let's go to the next one.
No doubt.
I had access to a lot of money. I was married to a professional basketball player.
Yes, ma'am.
Worth $60 million. My life was grand, but I didn't have love. I didn't have commitment. I didn't have respect, integrity within that dynamic. And so when we got divorced, those are the things that I wanted.
You still know what that lifestyle kind of presented you. Now, you're not gonna fall far from that. If you're used to eating filet mignon, you're not gonna start eating hamburger helper. Or I'm asking you the question, is love enough? Now, if he said, baby, listen, baby, I'm gonna just move in with you, you and your daughter, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna love you unconditional, I'm gonna protect you, right? Now, the provision part, that's gonna be your job. You ain't gotta never worry about me stepping out, you ain't gotta never worry about me cheating on you. Baby, I'm all yours.
Yeah.
Look good, I'm gonna make sure I got my abs bulging, I'm gonna make sure when you come home from sets and things like that, my bamboo gonna be ready for you. Is that enough?
Yes.
Cap or no?
Kappa Phi Kappa.
She capping, man.
Kappa.
She
Kappa Phi
capping,
Kappa.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, she capping, bro.
Capping crunch. I did
Yeah.
capping now.
So yeah, that's Tammy. Actually, I think she was like on the first Real Housewives. No, yeah, Basketball Wives. That's the show she was on. Basketball Wives, and them chicks are something else, man. I mean, you know, pretty ladies, man. You know, I think she used to be the Tammy chick. Used to be on the Real World though, if I ain't mistaken. But I can't really call it. But why is it cap? If it's cap.
I mean, look, I think that, I don't know how old she is. I think that once the chicks hit a certain age, it for some of them, it might ring true. But, you know, a lot of these chicks, especially the ones that are used to dudes flagging them down, they don't come out of that easy. they so used to being chased, dudes hollering at them. You know, the dude's intentions could just be to smash, but they think that any pursuit is for something deeper than that, and that the dude is gonna, you know, have them all soft girled up. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I think it's cap. I don't, you know, I've told plenty of chick, you know what I'm saying? I said, listen, man, y'all job to go just, you know, look good. I said, how about we switch places? How about you do everything that, you know, facilitates the lifestyle, and I'll just go to the gym, eat a certain way, be all, you know, popping abs, popping pecs and shoulders and shit. Cause that's easy for me. I do that any day of the week. Right? We can switch places. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do it the other way around. They don't want to be the cute chick, but you know, like, nah, I'll do that, and you do. Nah, I don't want to do that neither. It's cap. It's straight up cap, right? Sounds good sitting there. Sounds good. And because if it were true, she'd have her little dude. We know about it. Like, she'd be doing it. It's not hard for them to do.
Right. They can rent a dick. They can get a hobosexual real fast.
Right. Easy. I mean, to be honest, right? A lot of them do it without saying, like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, we all know the chick that, you know, they got them a 6'2", 6'3", like fuck boy in their crib right now playing you know, PlayStation or whatever.
PS4.
If they wanted to bless him, ta-da, PS5, right?
Right.
He doing that right now, you know, and he just play the game until she come home, you know, on some real baby boy shit. You know, he wait all day for her to get home. He tag her down, and then same thing tomorrow. He drive her to work in her car.
Right.
There's a lot of these chicks, they doing it already, right? They not going to say that.
I know some fuck boys, man. I got some homies that some fuck boys. You feel me?
Right, in the literal sense,
right,
of the word. You know, but you know, they'll say it's okay, but for them, like, after a while, you know, because, you know, they'll start complaining, they'll start arguing with the dude and this and that, and they like being able to do that because they in the, you know, driver's seat, but behind, you know, like behind all, you know, under all the layers of bullshit, they don't like that.
This nigga ain't shit. This nigga ain't shit.
Right. What they really want is they definitely want a guy they could control, but they don't want that guy to, you know, like if the guy had money and he was taking care of her, they'd accept that, but they want the control. They at the end of the day, whether dude broke, whether dude got money, however, the thing that they want to maintain is the control.
Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you think that a woman can actually fuck around with a man that, you know, is a homosexual. Just, you know, he look good. He got the bamboo. He bumping up. You know what I'm saying? Putting it in a stomach, and that's gonna satisfy. Put two if you think it's cap. Is it cap or no? Like, will a woman be satisfied being the breadwinner and she come home and the dude is there chilling, playing the PlayStation 5, ready to, you know, knock her down? Or, you know, put a one if you think that, you know, like, that could work. Put a two if you think that's cap. Well, you got like, you know, you got different opinions, man. I don't know. Or maybe they don't understand the nature of what I'm saying. Is she lying or not? A one if she lying, two if she telling the truth, that she can actually deal with that type of groove. So yeah, I asked the question wrong, so it's all fucked up. To me, yeah, she is a bum in her mind. He is a bum. I think he meant to say he's a bum in her mindset. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's go on to the next one.
She's too accustomed to being the chick being taken care of. I don't think she could switch places. I think that once women get a taste of that, they can't go back. It's very hard. She lying. I agree with.
But I mean, you got like Nicki Minaj got a bum ass nigga for a husband.
Yeah, but she's been used to being in the driver. Nikki has been the breadwinner. The thing with Tammy is she's been the pampered chick. It's hard to go from being the pampered chick to the boss. You understand what I'm saying? If you either you've been the pampered chick or you've been the chick that's, you know, the boss with the fuck boy. But it's hard.
But Nikki been with Nikki been with bum ass niggas the whole time.
The whole time. That's what I'm saying. She's been, so a change of, see, she could go to, like, you would think
it's easier for her to monkey branch to a bum than
right,
it is.
but I'm gonna tell you, a chick like Nikki, her being the personality she is, she could, if a dude were to take care of her, she probably would accept it for a little while, but he couldn't tell her what to do. Like, he couldn't be in control. As soon as she feels like she's not in control of the situation, that's when she gonna find her Meek Mill or Safari or that nigga she with now. I'm telling you, like, look, bro, these bitches, they can't transform. They going, as soon as they feel like they not on top of the situation, it's the control thing that's the common denominator of these relationships. They gonna walk away as soon as they feel like the dude that's taking care of them is calling shots. Is gonna be a wrap. Real shit. They're gonna be out of there.
So let's move to the next one, man. Shit, you know, let's push it.
You on a date, right? And a guy have his phone on D&D. Is that a red flag?
He better put his phone on D&D when he with me, because if he has other hoes, I do not want to see that.
But it's fine if you have other hoes.
This first date, if he can't pull hoes, then why would I even want to talk to him, for real?
Who don't got no bitch? So you like a guy with hoes?
I like a guy who can pull, yes.
Why?
I like a guy who could pull everything. I like you to pull out money. I like you to pull hoes. And I like you to pull out something else.
Like, yo, look, well, matter of fact,
What you got to say about that shit? You know what I'm saying?
First, shout out to Romello. I see you. Shout out to Welvin. I see Welvin in LA. Welvin stay with a chick. Welvin the Great stays with a bitch. I kid you not. I've seen him twice.
Who is this now? Who you talking about?
The guy that was in they flashed with the little, I don't know whether he's autistic or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
That dude, yeah.
I got no bitches, yeah.
That dude, yo, I swear to God, he stayed with a broad. I've seen him in the streets. He stayed with a broad, right? Okay, so moving right along. Looking at how he looking, stay with a broad. Anyway, again, look out for my shorts. This is what the women, listen to what women tell you when they speaking frankly. Look, she said, look, she don't want no dude that can't get no bitches. Right?
Hey, if he can't pull up, first of all, he better not be fucking with no hoes while I'm there. But he better be able to pull some bitches.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't want to fuck with him.
Right. Because it's like, you know, I don't know how many people rock with Jordan Peterson. It's like, in order to be dangerous, you gotta, you can't just be a sucker. Like, oh, I ain't fucking with nobody, so that makes me a good guy. No, you got to be able to fuck somebody up, but choose not to. That's what these women want. They want you to be able to pull holes. They want you to be able to fuck some shit up. Shout out Dr. T. Hassan.
Yeah, shout out to BGS. I see him out there.
Right.
Shout out to the real big boss Calvin. I see him out there.
You have to be able to do these things, but choose not to do it. It's like Bruce Lee. He can whoop everybody ass, but he'll choose not to. Right. They want a guy who all they women, all they friends, all the girls in their circle, all them want the dude. But the dude like, nah, I don't want y'all. I just want her, right? That's what, just like dudes want a chick that all the niggas want. But she don't want none of them niggas. She only want him, right? And that's just the fucking, you know, how the fucking shit go,
bro. Let me tell you some shit, right? Like, okay, so I was dating this chick, right? And so I'm hanging out with her and all of her fucking girlfriends, right? And I'm the only nigga, and I'm surrounded by all these chicks and shit, right? Mm. So we go to this bar and grill and shit. I swear to God, man, every bitch in this bar and grill was trying to get at me, bro. Because I was surrounded by all these chicks.
Right.
I mean, some nigga came up to me, you know, the woman behind the bar was like, you know, can I holler at him? I'm like, what the fuck? A chick did. I hollered at this bitch a while ago, and she was playing like hard to get. She was in the motherfucker, and then she was trying to push up on me. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
And it was because I was with them chicks, man.
Right.
So yeah, if you got hoes, it's easy to get hoes. It's like if you got money, it's easy to get money.
Right. I've countless. I got too many stories like that to go into, but I'm just saying, like, that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? It's like they give the free shit to the rich, and they charge the poor people arm and a leg.
Right.
You know, it's just how the world works. The motherfucker that don't smoke weed, I've been offered more free weed, more free drugs than the person that actually wants the drugs. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is, man.
And this also kind of plays into this idea that like chicks is chasing the same nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It kind of it plays into that, you know, that kind of notion. You know, which I used to think, you know, it's somebody for everybody, but you know, I don't know no more, man. It's, you know, it's up for interpretation, man.
I tell dudes, I say, yo, stop trying to play this good guy who would never offend or never cheat or never do this, never do that, because I mean, the women tell us every day, to them it's boring, right? They want the dude that they gotta compete over, right? I mean, they don't want to do what necessarily that they got to do to compete for him, but they want that guy, right? The thing is, is that dudes that try to play this like, I'm such a nice guy, this and that and the other. If you play the savage, oh yeah, they on you, and don't ask me to explain it. I just know that's how it works. Just no more than I could explain it. If you flip the light switch, the light will come on. I just know that that's how it works. That's it. You turn your computer on, it comes on. Don't ask anybody to explain how that works. It just works, period. So don't try to understand. Just walk in the reality of it. And
yeah, I mean, you know, chicks don't like brown nosing ass niggas for real. You know, they say that's what they want, but they don't want that shit, bro. I mean, I don't know, but it is what it is, bro. I ain't gonna get caught up on that shit all day. But next we got the next joint. Cause we'll be, you know how this shit, man, can end up being 3 hours, but it's supposed to only be 6 minutes of footage and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. All right. Yeah.
No doubt. I mean?
You cheated on me and broke up our marriage. I'm not paying you spousal support. That's crazy.
You know, in all my years of working with guys, this is one of the things I think that upsets guys more than anything else. I had it happen to me in my first marriage, and I've long lost count of how many guys I've talked to that have had it happen in theirs. Now, my first divorce was in the 90s. We're now in the 2020s. And guess what? Things haven't changed in the least. And what's not so hilarious is that a lot of these alimony and child support laws were put in because the paradigm that they believed was that men were bailing on their marriages, walking away, and not taking care of their children. Are there guys that do that? Yeah, they are, and F them. But now the paradigm has shifted. Right. Now we're rewarding women for cheating. We're now rewarding women for filing for divorce. They know they're going to get the house, the car, the kids, and a good portion of his income. They're literally incentivizing women to have affairs and end their marriage. And you wonder why guys are walking away.
That's a different type of pain. A check coming out of your pay every month going to the woman that cheated on you. I mean, that's, I can think of few things that would send a man into depression.
That's that burn right there. That's the burn right there.
Yeah. Slowly, guys are gonna opt out of this shit. I mean, this traditional beliefs, you know, to me, tradition is almost religion. And people don't want to let go of traditions and religions and superstitions and all this other shit. All that shit is going to die. It's going to die because, you know, as this society moves forward, people don't, I hate to say it this way, don't be mad at me, but people don't need each other the same ways that they used to. They don't. Like, we talk shit about, you know, how you know, men don't need women. It goes both ways. Like, you know, both of our functions in relationships, you know, have been diminished with technology and all of that shit. The environment has changed, and it's changed them, it's changed us too. You know what I'm saying? So like as time moves forward, the less we need each other, other than maybe the biological aspect, right? So, yeah, man. More and more men are walking away from this, and some women even, because again they don't need the marriage or the relationship to survive anymore. It's not a survival thing no more. It's convenient, or it's emotional attachment, but as a survival thing, that's done. It's done, right? So
Well,
that's
what
just,
do you take? What do you take then about like the new laws and shit popping up, like the abolishment of Roe v. Wade, and potentially the abolishment of no fault divorce and shit like this?
well, the Roe v. Wade, I remember, shout out to Dr. T. He asked me, he's like, what's my opinion on the at least the states, because it's not abolished, it's they gave it back to the states.
Right. I
So
mean, you get what I'm saying, though. I mean, in terms of like it being strongly defended by the federal government, this practice.
As far as abortion or the abolishment of abortion?
Abortion. Because it's like you said, it's not abolished. So I kind of misstated. I misspoke.
No, it's cool, but I understand what you're saying. So, at the end of the day, it's indifferent to me. The reason why I say that is because men never had a say. It doesn't really matter whether they take the right away from women or they give it to them. It was never our choice. So I don't understand why men would care. Why do we care? If the government say, hey, abortion is illegal, it doesn't have no more or less of an impact on it than the other way around. It doesn't matter. It was never our decision. It's their decision. It impacts them more. You know what I'm saying? Men still have to do what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? To either safeguard, prevent, or whatever. Now,
the only reason I asked the question is because I think the white people eventually, I think they're gonna make one last grab to try to preserve white nationalism, even though like the momentum is moving in a different direction. I mean, they're not reproducing heavily enough, and whiteness has to reproduce itself if it wants to preserve its hegemony. You know what I mean? If it wants to preserve the hierarchy that exists, they're gonna have to start fucking and having white babies.
They're gonna import women, like I've said this before, like the white or the Caucasian Hispanic, right? They're gonna import. This is why you see, like, as much as Umar talk about the black man is the most interracial, like, he's fucking wrong. The black man, he said the black man dates or marries the most interracially, and that's incorrect. That's the white man. The white man has always been the most interracially, whether it be marriage or a sexual thing. He's always been that. The white man has never discriminated on which chick he fucking. Probably with the exception of black women, right? To a degree. Right. So what I'm saying is, because that Roe v. Wade shit ain't gonna help boost their numbers, because dudes are dealing with what he just described. So they backing off. What they're gonna have to do is import, because these women here, they, like you said, no fault divorce and all this feminism, they're gonna have to import, quote unquote, Caucasian women into this place that these white men can marry and have, quote unquote, Caucasian kids. I keep telling people, this white shit is not really an ethnic or genetic thing. At this point, it's a class thing. If you're a white guy and you mess around, you have a kid with a white Caucasian Hispanic, that kid is going to be your next George Zimmerman. He's going to have white status, and that's how you boost your white numbers in North America again. That's what it is. Because the white women here are not cooperating. So the same thing that they're telling niggas not to do, don't date outside your race, and don't because your genetic annihilation and all this other bullshit, right? The white man is going to import some so-called Caucasian white women to boost his numbers, and those women are going to cooperate with him, and niggas is forced to deal with these fucking hags and shit. Nah, nigga. So yeah, that's how you fix that problem.
But what I can say is what white people have done, because they hate niggas so much, is they created, like, to me, the seeds of their own demise. This is how I perceive it. But you know, hey, it is what it is, bro. Let's move to the next one. The reason I say that is, man, look, they do have a reproduction problem, but I mean, your solution to the way they can fix it is to just, you know, interpolate Hispanics or people who are Latino into whiteness, and they've already begun that process. Okay, yeah. But it's important. My viewpoint on Latino people is this: they're mestizos. Okay, Latinos, or the population of people who, you know, perceive themselves as Latinos, they're a mix between white folks and Native Americans, bro.
Right.
It is what it is. Okay. So
from a genetic standpoint, or geographical standpoint, or ethnic standpoint, but I mean, shit, Kim Kardashian is white, right? But the bitch is Armenian. Understand where I'm coming from when I say the quote unquote white shit ain't that no more. It's a class thing. We grant you whiteness. We take the little sword and we tap you on both shoulders and say you are knighted white. And that's what it is. The Kardashian family is quote unquote white, even though they from fucking Armenia. Mr. Kardashian. You know what I'm saying?
But so like, one thing I want people to understand is, like, white Spanish people have always been considered to be European. Now, they might not be initially, they might not be characterized or perceived as white because they're not Anglo-Saxons. But I mean, eventually, you know, most people from Europe get interpolated into whiteness. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing, this is the one thing. So I asked this one Latino dude, I say, you Latin, huh? He's like, yeah, I'm Latin. I say, you know, Latin is the official language of Rome, correct? You do understand that. And then I tried to get him to see that, bro, you're not a descendant of an ancient Roman, man. You're not Sicilian, you're not Italian. You know what I'm saying? You're not from Europe, bro. You're an American. You might have some European ancestry, as many black folks do in America as well. But the point is, you're not fucking European, bro.
Well,
but they increasingly they are perceiving, or, you know, connecting and tethering themselves to that kind of identity formation.
I want people to look at a map and see where Armenia is on the map, because it's not in Europe. Armenia is not a European country, and that's why I use that as an example. Armenia is not in Europe. If you don't believe me, pull up a map. Everybody
it's fucking American, man. Armenia is American, man.
No, Armenia is Asia.
I thought you meant Colombia and Armenia or something.
No. I mean Armenia, like Armenian. That is Asia. Pull it up anytime. If you know, Armenia, not American, Armenia. Like, yeah, it's in Asia. So yeah, that's why I use that as an example. But you know, again, you get granted this status to boost numbers, and that's what they did with the whole Ellis Island thing, because whiteness used to be Anglo-Saxon, right? So, you know, whatever.
But you know, Europe really actually is connected to Asia, though, bro. So, you know, it is what it is. We ain't gonna get too far off into that. You know what I'm saying? But
a lot of these continents connected. But you got what I'm saying.
But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is this, bro. White folks, man, they dwindling, and, you know, they're gonna try to preserve. Like, there are some white purists here. Like, there are some white, like, purists who don't really like Latinos and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the next few decades. You know, but it ain't gonna be a problem that I inherit, because I'm gonna be fucking dead by the time it's an issue, for real. So, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Let's move to the next journey.
No doubt.
Single women who are over 50 years old who have been reaching out to me for wife coaching tips, I'm no longer taking them. Don't pay the money through my website, because I'm just going to refund it to you. I've had a couple of experiences this week, and here's why. most of you, not all, but 99% of the women who are 53 and older, specifically 53, 55, 57, 59, 61, 64, in those age brackets,
Are delusional.
have been the most challenging for me to coach because the standards are unrealistically high.
Delusional.
I get that you're old school and I get that your mom raised you to only interact with gentlemen, but most of the men who do all of the stuff that you're wanting are dead, or they're not.
Stop it. She said all the shit. The men you looking for are fucking dead.
Looking for 55 or 57-year-old women. There are some younger men who do that. And you don't want an old man because he can't perform in bed. Well, the younger men don't want an older woman because some of you have arthritis. Some of you have missing.
Oh man, I saw this shit. I said I got to talk about that.
Teeth. You have gray hair. You have grandkids. Like, you got to be realistic and balanced in your thinking.
Bro,
Right. So, once upon a time, a long time ago, on Facebook, before any of us was on YouTube, and when I say us, I do mean me, you, and a few others. I made a post. This is back in my real FB roasting days. That's when I was slanging them left and right on Facebook. And I told this girl, she was like 50 something. She was like, they love to use the term, my future husband. My future husband. I'm like, your future husband? You like 50 plus. I say, your future husband is Jesus. That's your future husband. Oh, I was disrespectful to a lot of these chicks on Facebook during this time, like 2016, 2017. Yeah, your future husband, you 50 plus, all these, funny demands and funny expectations and shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? And, cause they old school and blah, blah. Again, I say it all the time, like as time moves on, and the Gen Xers and everybody before them get older, this stuff that a lot of this like traditional, super black shit that motherfuckers talk about because the Gen Xers are still here, the boomers are still here, that shit is going away. That shit is going to slowly die. Okay? Shout out to Dr. T.
He said he's looking for that clip last night. Because it kind of fit in with what he was talking about last night, about these unrealistic expectations that like women who are in like like the so-called upper middle class, that they're looking for these type of dudes or whatever. But first of all, you have to understand, like, it ain't that many of y'all to begin with. Y'all act like y'all are like a quarter of the black population and shit of women and shit. And you're not. It's like a small subset of black women. Right. And then, these chicks, man, they got champagne taste, but they got beer budget, dog.
But they don't. Their budget is not being commanded. Shout out to Romello. Romello says, Gen X are not traditional. I would say the earlier half of Gen X leans towards the boomers. They tend to be more traditional. Like the closer to 69, 70 you get, the more traditional you get. Like I'm on the other half of Gen X, right? What I'm saying is, that era, that group is slowly getting older and they're becoming more irrelevant. So, what they want and what they say and all that shit is going to be, it's not going to mean nothing. These women are past being able to command or demand or request any of these things, and they're past their years with a lot of these chicks still thinking they 20.
They still got it. They still got it.
Right. Like they could just, I could still pull, right? No, you can't. Not what you used to, or they can't give that up. It's like an old boxer who think he can still get the belt. You know what I'm saying?
Marcus say be killing women but you 50 though. Like I'm just gonna be honest, man.
Doc T been on my Facebook page a long time. Shout out to Dr. T. Dr. T, you remember I was giving them hell on Facebook. You know this. Dr. T rocking with me some years on Facebook, man. And I
Yeah,
used to
Gen X
roast.
be on some bullshit, but sometimes I got a clip on here that kind of speaks to some of the shit that I think is noble about Gen X as well, though. But hey. But yeah, I think a lot of these chicks, man, especially the older ones, man, got all these goddamn bougie ass demands and shit like that. And you ain't got a man by 60, 50 years old. What the fuck, man? Like, but here's the thing, man. They paying money, bro, to find niggas, bro. They signing up for courses.
Please.
And look at did you hear this woman say? Listen, bro, she said, I am turning their money away. Look at it. Imagine that shit. That
Sugar
you
mama.
like, I mean, how many people turn away money, bro?
I mean, not many, but these women who are talking about they coach women or black women especially, a lot of them are like, nah, we up out of here. I mean, we got a list of names. We got a list of names of women who said, nah, we ain't doing this no more. Not with y'all. We rather work with the men because the men are more amenable to reality, right? But again, these women think, a good deal of them, they still think that they that shit. Like, no, your shit, you been the old chick in the club. You been
Man,
that.
it ain't like that's like a used car acting like it's got that brand new smell. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You got the little tree hanging from your shit with the new car smell. No, it's an old car with a new car smell. I don't mean
Man.
shit.
But check it out. She said, look, I'm giving the money
Single
back.
women who are over 50 years old who have been reaching out to me for wife coaching tips, I'm no longer taking them. Don't pay the money through my...
That's a hell of a statement to make, man. I'm not taking your fucking money. I don't want your bread.
Yeah, Romello, shout out to Romello. Just and I see the conversation they're having. Mexico is definitely North America. Regardless of what the Mexicans say, it's been North America for a long time. But yeah, to give a chick their money back, like, nope, I don't want to deal with you here. Take your money back. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? It's like refusing an offer for head. And I've done that quite a few times. Like, nah, shorty. Nah, I'm good. It's like that shit has to feel away. It has to feel away. Right? So it is what it is.
Yeah, that shit crazy, man. So let's go to the next one. Shit. We got 3 more minutes of this shit to watch. We halfway through it.
All right.
When a divorced dad was ordered to pay child support for a child who isn't his.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
He turned to our Target 8 investigators for help. It's perfectly legal for the state to order him to pay support for another man's child.
His ex-wife had given birth. She had gotten pregnant during their separation by another man. Court papers clearly acknowledge the baby is not Joe's. The Friday before Father's Day, Joe got a letter in the mail from friend of the court. He owed $8,500 in back child support plus medical expenses.
Your thoughts?
What? For a baby his ex-wife had with another man. He says he didn't know his girlfriend was still married when they got together. Rob says they were planning to blend their families. Rob bought a ring. But before she gave birth, Rob says he got this email saying although the baby was his, she was going to raise it with her husband.
This is outrageous. Right to jail, right away.
Man, that's some crazy shit right there, man.
Remember the drug commercial? There you go. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't know if who remembers that shit. I know it sounds old school, but niggas don't do it, motherfuckers. I mean,
it's a hell of a game, man, where you could separate from your husband, have a baby with another motherfucker, get pregnant, and then charge the ex-husband that you ain't sleeping with, you ain't fucking with, you on bad terms with. Now you gotta support another fucking kid. What type of sick shit is this? kind of sick shit is that?
The funny thing is that these women will say, well, it's the law on some Nino Brown shit. It's the law, right? As if that means this right. Like people lean to legal shit like it's correct, right? Like slavery wasn't legal. like you know what I'm saying?
Bro, I'm saying to me, it's sick.
Absolutely.
To be required to pay for another man's child as if that child were actually your responsibility because you're married to this motherfucker. But she done broke every fucking vow. She done broke every agreement and covenant with man and God, but she gets fucking support.
Because you got guys in government, right? White and black, who think like Umar Johnson, where no matter what she does, she's still the queen. And we call this a patriarchy.
Man, that's crazy, bro. Shout out to Eon Graves, man. I see you out there. Like, please support the Green Gorilla channel, Cash App, Super Chat, anything. Shout out to Eon, man. But let me see something right here, man. Let me move forward. That shit's crazy to me, man.
Crazy period.
Who let Gen X off the hook? Why aren't we talking shit about those guys?
Because, sir, we will fuck you up. We fought in real life, not on the internet. We are the last generation of feral children. We didn't have safe spaces. We didn't have trigger warnings. No one was allergic to fucking gluten. We mind our own business. We are older than Google. We are not the bigger person. Leave us alone.
That's what she said about we ain't the bigger person. Woo, I love that. That's who I am. I am not the bigger person. Nope.
Hey, look, so I'm Generation X, man. It is what it is. I was born in 71. You know, I remember like the first time I ever had to word process. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I remember like I had to take an English class, and the class was set up in such a way that you had to use the word processor in order to, you know, complete the assignments. And they made us do it in the class. So I'm like, what the fuck? I was used to a typewriter. I was not used to fucking a word processor and floppy disks and all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But now, you know, the technology is such that I would not even think about writing shit down on a piece of paper, bro.
Yeah, I'm younger than that. So I came up as the computers and shit were coming into the situation. So I had my Texas Instruments, you know what I'm saying? I had my little Texas Instruments situation and stuff like that. You know, I had my big floppy disks and, you know, I knew my BASIC. I knew all of that stuff, man. I've been a computer dude, you know, since the early 80s. You know what I mean? So like I you know, I was with all that. I love the computer class, man. You know what I mean? But I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of stuff that came later that you know, we all had to, I guess, grow accustomed to. Just imagine the people that are older than us, right? Having to learn all this shit, man. You know? But
man, look, all I can tell you is I grew up in an era where the TV went off at night, where you spent most of your time during the summertime outside. Now, we did have like Atari and ColecoVision and shit like that.
Right.
And, you know, we had like a little handheld video games or like head-to-head football, soccer and shit like that. But it wasn't nothing but lines and sticks and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like nothing like, we didn't have Madden growing up.
Right.
Okay.
We were outside. We was in the street playing football or playing Skelly or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Shout out anybody from New York that's in the chat. You know, the house phone and no call waiting. If you was on the phone, nobody else could call the crib. Rotary phone. Like you said, TV go, certain channels turn off at night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, man. You turn on, you saw nothing. Like the TV channel is done. Like they all went home and shut it down, and that's it. People, a lot of kids, like they can't fathom that. Like, what? There's nothing on TV after a certain time. Yeah, there's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on the channel. You might, but a lot of stuff went off. But then, Saturday morning cartoons, bro.
Oh man, that was the highlight of my week, boy.
Saturday morning cartoons is dead. I never thought I would see the day with Saturday morning cartoon. Longest running cartoon on television that I remember has got to be the Smurfs. Them, when I'm talking about when we were growing up, like as far as Saturday morning, they had season after season after season after, like they invent new characters and all this other stuff. Like, the Smurfs.
I can't even remember half the cartoons used to come on Saturday. I used to watch the Laugh Olympics and shit. I mean, because certain cartoons came on in the evening or the afternoon after you came home from school, because you had Heckle and Jekyll, Tom and Jerry, all that kind of shit was on all the time.
Yeah, the Woody Woodpeckers and all that.
Yeah. But I mean, the shit that, the Saturday morning cartoons it was a whole different level, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but the cable took that shit over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Cartoon Network took over that shit. But I remember. We didn't even, like, most people didn't have cable. You know what I'm saying? Like, Showtime was the only fucking shit. And HBO and Cinemax.
HBO and WHT.
You know what I'm saying?
HBO back in the day, HBO Channel 3, or you had a box. You had your HBO box, or you had your WHT box. Shout out to Romello. He said Kung Fu Sundays. People watch the Shaw Brothers shit and then come outside and want to fight you. You know what I'm saying? And we had the karate shoes and all this other stupid shit. Like, you could buy all the karate shit outside, but the one channel, the HBO WHT, or like you said, Cinemax or Showtime. I think those two probably came a little later. I remember the first shits being those two. What happened to WHT?
All I know is, man, when I was in school, like from 88 to 93, 92, we wasn't watching cable like that. We was fucking watching videos and shit. Blockbuster was the thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go to Blockbuster, or, my OG used to, they had cable, and she would take the movies that she would, watch on cable and, like, record them for me. And then, I would be able to watch, all the shit that she had access to that was decent, like, because she rented them. Or she would, like, motherfuckers was dubbing shit off other videos and shit. Like, they'll get you had double decks and shit, you know what I'm saying? The VCR, right. You could tape the shit from, copy or whatever. But,
right.
That's back in the day, man. All I can say is, man, Generation X, I just remember, before cell phones, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, before Google, I grew up, wasn't no YouTube, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok.
None of
shit
this.
Didn't exist.
No.
Know what I'm saying?
That's
I remember
zero.
We had pages and shit. I remember, like, back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers had beepers for no reason, for real.
Beepers, right. That's how, beepers and, don't forget Betamax, y'all. Betamax. And my man said, please be kind to rewind. You had a separate machine to rewind, just to rewind the video.
Yeah, because it'll burn your head out and shit. You keep rewinding the motherfucking video.
Yeah, but yeah. Beepers.
So let's play the next one, though, man. Let's play the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to move in together?
Move in? I don't have money to pay.
Does he have his own place?
No.
How old is he?
He's 20.
And you're 20?
1.
Whoa. That's pretty gross.
Is there feelings?
There's still feelings.
Yeah.
But I feel like because it's been a year, I'm just like always mad at him. Is that normal?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's very normal.
Like, I just feel like I hate his face right now.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, that's love. Yeah, you're actually falling in love.
Yeah.
What else does he do? Does he say things that really, the way he says a word, what word bothers you the way he says it?
Babe.
Yeah, babe. Disgusting.
Like, anytime he says something, I'm just always angry.
Yeah.
If he's like, hey, babe, do you want something to eat?
Yeah, and then I
pissed.
Like, obviously.
Yeah, fucking.
Right.
Right.
Like, why do you need to ask?
So what?
Yeah,
you're gonna be a great wife.
I feel so bad for him. I just feel empathy toward him.
No.
What do you think? Like, I saw that shit. To me, I was like, that's crazy to me. Like, why are you encouraging this shit in this young ass fucking 21-year-old girl, man, to be fucking mean to her boyfriend? Like, what the fuck is wrong with these dudes, man?
That's not how I took it.
How you take it?
I took it this is like, they know what a relationship is at that age, and she's telling him, yeah, this is what I'm going through as this 20-year-old. Like, she doesn't understand why she feels this way, why she's always angry, this and that. He's like, they're pretty much like, yeah, that sounds about right. Right. So right. So I don't take it as they're encouraging it, but they're looking at it like, yeah, that's relationships. Right. Because the 20-year-old that just walked into the new shit, like, to them it's new. To them, it's like, why is it like this? Why am I feeling this way? Like, this is what I'm going through, and this and that. And by the time you late 30s, early 40s, or even older than that, it's like, yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, what you saying to me? Yeah, ain't nothing new. Shout out to Adrian Hicks. I see you, bro. Yeah, that's the way I took it. And I mean, me and you are in that space. We're in that age range. So what she's saying is like, yeah. And you look back, it's like, yo, if I knew what I knew now, it's like, fuck that, right?
I mean,
Like,
it's
that's what
comedy anyway. I mean, they have this young girl on their show, and I guess she's, breaking into comedy. And so, I mean, they're being sarcastic to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? So, but goddamn, man. I mean, I just like this. It did fuck with me though a little bit, like, like I hate his face type shit. Like, come on, man. Like, like that's what relationships are, when motherfuckers hate each other and shit.
Yes, that's what they are. And the funny thing is, what up, Charles? Woo!
What's up with Charles, man? What's cracking with you, bro?
The thing is, again, we are growing up is one thing, but coming off the other shore and now coming into this is like, yo, we got the internet now, we got the social media now, and we're being told, like, you wouldn't have heard a woman say that out loud back in the days, like, yeah, I just hate his face. And now we're hearing it, right? So all the honesty that women might deal with coming from us that they hate, we're hearing a lot of their honesty too, as opposed to saying, wow, like, how could it be? No, these are the things that they feel and don't say. Right? These are the things that, like, back in the days, you would see her acting a way and you wouldn't understand it. But now they're saying, right,
she hates that she loves him type shit. What the fuck type
I don't
shit?
know about all that. Right. It's just, people deal with each other. Look, we all even got homies that, like, this shit we can't stand about them, but we fuck with them, right? Right?
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
I'm sure, right? We all got it. It don't matter, family, homies, relationships, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure there are things about me. I'm fuck quite sure. I'm 100,000% positive there are things about me motherfuckers can't stand, but they deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the reality of things. So yeah, I hate his face. I hate the sound of his voice, this and that and the other. So, like, when them chicks be having that attitude that you don't understand why, what she's saying is representative or indicative of that. Like, that's what it is. It's they now we're hearing it. We're hearing it, whereas before we didn't.
Yeah, for sure. All right, hold on, I doubled up, man. I had to go get some cough drops and shit.
I thought that was your
no, man.
Your Oz effect. You know what I'm saying?
I can, man. Follow me. You remember that Fred Sanford episode for Christmas and shit?
Nah, it's been a minute.
When Lamont was the ghost of Christmas past, the present, and the future and shit.
Right.
When he told Fred, follow me. Fuck no, man. That shit's silly as hell, man.
Yeah.
But that's all the shorts. And look, I cut them to the point where we won't have a 2-hour show, man. You know what I'm saying? I did that on purpose because it seems like you could cover 6 minutes in 30 minutes. But what ends up happening is if you got 15 minutes worth of videos, it ends up being 3 hours.
Right.
So I wanted to kind of cut it somewhat short, you know what I'm saying, and not let it extend too long. But shout out to Romello, man. He just hit me on the Cash App. Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Aaron Peters. Shout out to the Revelator. I see you, bro. Shout out to Red Force Black. He said, Didn't Chris Rock do a routine where he said when you're sitting around and your woman looks at you angry. I mean, you know, again, like this is the reality of relationships. What you know, it's like what we think relationships are, what they really are is two different things. It's like, who here has had a BlackBerry? And I'm taking it back now. We're gonna do the reminiscent.
I had a
shit
BlackBerry.
Again. We all had a BlackBerry, and how many times did that motherfucker freeze on you, do all types of stupid shit? Like, yo, them shits were the worst. Right now, what they were supposed to do was a great thing. What they were supposed to do, but how they actually worked was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the sidekick. People love the sidekick, right? But it didn't do, a lot of times it didn't do what it's supposed to do. I remember my brother returned like, I don't know how many sidekicks he had to send back because they were just malfunctioning, man. You know, and the same thing with the BlackBerry, man. They were just malfunction, but you know, what they promised were great. And that's, you know, relationships. A relationship promise, you know, we have this idea, just like these women have this idea of what men's supposed to be. And we have an idea of what women are, and both of us have an idea, different, however, of relationships. Women have their idea. But women have their idea. We have our idea of what a relationship is supposed to be. And we're both wrong.
Yeah, BGS man said like that. I saw his shit yesterday, BGS's show yesterday. And he was like, you know, women, you got to understand that their whole dedication is towards nesting. You know what I'm saying? It ain't, men got this idea of love that's much more different than what women have in terms of love.
Right,
you know
because we have an idea of women that ain't real.
I agree. You know what I'm saying? I think, just to be quite honest, man, I think men are more suckers for love and more sticklers for romance and fidelity and loyalty than women ever have been or ever will be, dog. That's just my feelings on it, though. That's maybe I'm wrong.
No, I agree with it. The person with the most to lose that still walks in, you know, whether you want to call that love or whether you want to call it insanity or stupidity, whatever you want to call it, right? That's the person, right? They're ignoring everything that they see. I think women are more, you know, pragmatic than we give them credit for in how they approach which man they fuck with. Right? With men, you know, we walk into the situation hopeful. Now, women are hopeful that the guy that they pragmatically chose will choose them back, right? Women get their heart broke because of their expectations, or you know, on their vagina, or their ability to pull men. Right?
You know what?
It's not the same. Right, go ahead.
So this is interesting, right? Samat 66 says men wrote the love songs. Now look, I was just listening to Luther Vandross yesterday, man. Like, cause motherfuckers don't sing R&B like they used to back in the day, man. Like, I'm part of the generation where you would get in the car and the Whispers will be playing or some shit. Or Lou Rawls will be playing in the motherfucking car. Or, you know, I mean, you know, any number of artists, you know what I'm saying, like from the past, like Isaac, you know, Kennedy or some shit, you know what I'm saying? Now, hold on, who am I thinking about, man? I'm fucking up, man. I ain't even saying shit right. But like, you had the Temptations, the Whispers, and they were singing these love songs and shit. But what women sang love songs for real like that? They were like, I love you, I'm gonna give everything to you and all this type of shit. The most I've heard women say that I can remember is like, you better respect me type shit. Or I'm tired of your trifling, low down, dirty shit. I can't, like, okay, so the Supremes had Baby Love or some shit like that, My Baby Love. But like, how many songs do you hear from women that are like extolling how great their man is and shit?
But I don't think what he's saying is even the songs that the women sing, men wrote those.
Good, right? Yeah, damn, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's
So
George
you had,
Benson. Hey, look, George Benson, Isaac Hayes. That's what I'm talking about, bro. I couldn't even name it. You know what I'm saying? Anita Baker, Sweet Love. Okay, yeah. So I gotta say that. Miss KP Bailey is right, Sweet Love.
So I forget.
You know what? Sade. So I gotta take it back. So Sade made some dope ass love songs too, though.
Yeah,
Sade.
I'm trying to remember their names. The Motown songwriters, Holland Dozier, right? So yeah, the men wrote all these records, right?
Yeah, he said yeah. So he said yeah, men still wrote them. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, Holland Dozier Holland wrote most of the Motown stuff.
I remember Melba Moore, man. Man, shit, that's an old school. Holland Dozier, Holland, yeah, man. Look, Maze, Frankie Beverly, not many though. Says not many though. So I
then the Isleys.
The Isleys.
Isley,
Bro, I remember
Jasper,
listening
Isley.
to a lot of that shit in the car. You know what I'm saying? Back when they used to have the 8 tracks in the motherfucking car. You know about the 8 tracks?
I know about that, man. We was listening to Richard Pryor on the 8-track back in the day. Why'd you put something on the 8-track?
8 tracks in the car, kid.
8
with
tracks,
the roll them downs. You ain't no power windows.
If you had an 8-track, you was the shit in the car.
Tony Quaid says she 50 years old. She still fine as wine. Melba got a husband. Shit.
Yeah, if you had an 8-track back, remember 8-track back then. That was like a CD. Back then, yeah, because I mean, you know, tapes you had to fast forward and rewind. 8-track was like a CD back in the day.
Super fast, huh? Super fast, rewind, fast forward.
Right,
But, man, y'all got some questions or whatever the case may be, man. It's time for you to, come ask them, or if you got some shit you want to say. Look, we talking at this point because we ain't got no more shorts to play. But Shaka Khan, yeah, I feel for you. Oh, here we go, Chaos and shit. This motherfucker. What you got? What you got to say, Chaos, man?
Hey, I used to have a BlackBerry too, back in the day. It was cool. It's like a little mini computer, one of a few of its kind, man. Before you know
what I used to have before they start putting data assistants and connecting them to phone, because BlackBerry was one of the first so-called quote unquote smartphones. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But prior to that, you had these things called Palm Pilots. You remember that shit?
Yes, the PDA. Yeah, all those PDAs. Yeah.
Dog, I used to walk around the club like, "What's cracking, baby?" You know what I'm saying? Let me get your number then. You know what I'm saying? Let me get your math or whatever the case may be. And I pull out the motherfucking Palm Pilot, that bitch glowing and shit. Bitch is like, what the fuck is this? No, just write your number down, boo boo. I'll holler at you.
Yeah, I had hey, shout out to Mellow. I had the Sky Pager. Okay. Who got the planes in the background? I had the Sky Pager, right? And you know, you had look, because the big hustling dudes had the Sky Pages.
Yeah,
right?
I had a pager, man. You know, I think everybody had. I've been having a pager since motherfucking 89 or some shit, 88.
I had the two-way, I had the Sky Pager, then I had the two-way pager.
I had the Nextel.
Right, with the Sky Pager, then I had the two-way pager with all the you know, the buttons on it, where you could actually type your shit, as opposed to all that upside down code number bullshit. Beat me 911 and all that shit.
But let me tell you the reason the Palm Pilot is significant to me was because the Palm Pilot transmorphed into, like, they had something called the handspring or some shit like that, which was and you could buy modules for it that would basically allow you to use it as a cell phone and a Palm Pilot simultaneously.
Right.
And I was like, my partner got one of them motherfuckers, but then the technology got to the point where the BlackBerry came out, and then you really didn't need the Palm Pilot no more. But all them little bitty buttons and shit, the QWERTY pad, that was it's annoying and irritating and shit. You know what I'm saying? But and that little trackball on it and shit, you know, that shit would break.
My man had a Palm Pilot. I never had a Palm Pilot, but I do remember when they was out, and I remember them being a big thing. Like, you was the man if you had a Palm Pilot. So, motherfucker, fuck your Palm Pilot, nigga. My people.
He said, do you know the importance of a sky pager? Like, what's the importance of a sky pager? Talk to us, man. Tell us, man. Don't leave us on the hook, man. What's the importance, bro?
I'm trying to think what he might say, because look, I remember when them shits was out, you know, whether it be remember Jay-Z said Motorola 2-way page me and give it to me.
That's like direct messages, you know, like back, that's the way to do direct messages or some shit like that. What's up, though, Charles Faulkner? What's cracking with you, dog? Woo.
Woo! Chilling on this Saturday, just chilling.
Yeah, we chilling too, man. You know what I'm saying? Had to get one in, man. A little short bus joint, man.
That's what she said.
Say that's what she said. Let me get a quick one in.
Hey, quick ones turning to multiple ones. Hey, that's what she said. I'm just looking at it because it's funny. Because everybody who knows me knows that I love some old school R&B and soul, and it's funny because notice the comparison of men and women when it's like you don't really remember too many trifling women songs from men, but there's a ton of fucking songs you remember from women.
Facts.
You know, the cleaning lady, you know, that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because if you listen to like a group like Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, that's all they did was love songs.
Right.
Well, I mean, when hip hop came along, man, it fucking killed R&B, dog. It just is. I mean, I ain't gonna say it killed it, but like that motherfucker's on life support right now.
Not immediately, because
it's not. Because here's the reason why. When you listen to the 20-year-olds and what they consider R&B, is really talking behind a slow beat, and it's nobody can sing anymore. So,
I mean, that's where we are now. Because I remember when a lot of the stations, especially in New York, they would not play hip hop, right? Like Kiss FM, your BLS, you know, these stations, right? And you know, by the time hip hop became a thing, you know, when you started to get your hip hop stations, you had your hip hop station and you had your R&B station, right? So then that turned into now you don't have an R&B station anymore, right? Like you know, you would have the separation. Then you would have, well, I'm skipping. You had the hip hop and R&B station, so they would have them together. BLS, shout out to what is it? Not Nanja. You know, you had BLS. BLS would not play hip hop for a long time, right? You know, they was really leaning on like, yo, we rocking with the R&B, right? But again, you had your Hot 97 came out and they would play hip hop and R&B, and then R&B would slowly get phased out, and now you know Hot 97 is without question a hip hop station. Power 105 is without question a hip hop station, right?
Well, all I'm saying is when I was a kid and I would get in the car, right? You would have songs that would come on like "Let's Get It On," or "Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone," or Michael Jackson, "I'll Be There," or "Silly Superstition." You know what I'm saying? Or "Just My Imagination."
Baltimore, we have 95.9, but you got to remember the difference is the generations now for 95.9, they're playing fucking Jay-Z now because look who, like everybody who was listening to Big Pimpin', they're in their 40s and 50s now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, that has a lot to do with it also, because the R&B people done got older.
Yeah.
And
the hip hop people got older.
And I mean,
all I'm saying is, look, I'm a Generation X guy, and this music was a lot of it was already old when I was listening to it. It was already oldies and called dusties and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or oldies but goodies. You know what I'm saying? So me and Mrs. Jones, September, Earth, Wind and Fire, Isn't She Lovely? All this kind of shit. Papa was a Rolling Stone. I'll take you there. Ooh, child, I want you back. You know what I'm saying? All them type of cuts, man. That shit, you're a shining star. You know what I'm saying? No matter who you are. Now it's just like, these niggas ain't shit. Bitch, giving me some brain while I roll in the whip. Got the key, cut the coat.
Well, you gotta remember the philosophy of it. Where you see the music is where you see the culture. And there's no true such thing as love anymore in American culture. There's no love.
Yeah, man, it ain't no more, bro. You know,
think about it. Hookup culture. Why are you gonna have romance? I remember chicks talking about spoil me, and I'm like, why would I fucking spoil an adult? If I do something that's out of niceness and generosity, but why would you spoil an adult? And you look at it, because when you look at our old school soul, which is a difference between R&B, you actually had more of an appreciation for the women, what they did, for in a man's life. You don't see that shit anymore. Like when you hear about this, there is no appreciation because so many times we broke up the families and we're like, fuck all that.
I knew like even in my era though, you had R&B though, right? So you had like the New Jack era, okay? So you had like Keith Sweat, the cryingest, beggingest motherfucking dude in our era, okay?
New Jack Swing.
You had Al B. Sure.
Don't forget Babyface, another
Babyface. I mean, I'll wash your clothes, buy your dinner, and do all that shit as soon as I get home from work.
Baby, please.
We had Boys to Men. We had New Edition. I mean, like to me, New Edition was the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Even Bobby Brown when he was solo.
Bobby Brown was the shit. But like it changed, bro. Like, cause I used to DJ, so I would DJ these records and shit, and many of them were R&B records. Like Just Got Paid, motherfucker, they be dancing to that shit. Today, man, it's very few. I mean, I'm not saying there's no R&B artists.
There are none.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got some like The Weeknd. I would consider to be R&B.
If you call that singing, nigga.
Look,
I mean,
check it out. So some of these dudes wasn't this like. Bobby Brown, at least in his solo era, he wasn't no begging ass dude. He's the bad boy, right? There's a couple of R&B singers, and then you know after that you got Jodeci, right? And when Jodeci came out, everybody was like, "Oh my god!" Like they was almost offended at the stuff that these guys would say on records.
But they couldn't. One thing you can't say about Jodeci was when they first came out, that their music was offensive. Now the second album you can say that shit, but their first album,
they came in all soft. They came in soft, but what they eventually did. These guys coming on the stage, dressed I mean, kind of like Pac. Like Pac was on that Jodeci like aesthetic.
Yeah, eventually. for sure.
Right.
I mean, like that. I remember when you first. I've never seen a R&B group dressed like Jodeci. Like, because I remember when they first performed, I was in New Orleans when I first saw them. And they was performing somewhere around the projects. Or maybe they were like, I think they might have been at the part where, where the Audubon Zoo is. That's where they were, okay? So that's where they were. They were to some part. But when I saw them, they had on Timbos and shit and like vests with their chest open and shit like that with no shirt on and shit like that.
No shirts on. I was working in the music store. No, go ahead, bro.
They first hit with Father MC, treat them like they want to be treated. They stunted on them with the riff at the end. They came out in the hip hop era, but before that, it was the Force MDs was the first New York hip hop group, right? Even though they were singing old school R&B style stuff, they were being played by Mr. Magic, Marley Marl.
Right.
They being played during the rap attack. So I want to make the point before I bounce is they engineered that type of music out of our kids' lives. I'm 49 years old. So, me being around in New York, I remember when Hot 97 took over and they started to phase out R&B music and made everything aggressive. I go into Spanish barbershops, dudes younger than us, hood barbershops where I shouldn't be in because things go down at a certain time of night. They still play love music. They
Now
still
you,
play love music.
hey, bro,
Videos. Yeah.
You remember High 97 was they was the club dance music station.
They were before the 90s, early 90s when they were pure dance. They were Jelly Bean Benitez. That was Madonna's boyfriend. Jelly Bean used to run Hot 97. So they were the freestyle station. Lisa Cult Jam.
K7. Remember K7?
K7, yeah, that they came way after. K7 Cassiete was hip hop though. They Come Baby Come was their only like crossover hit, but they were down with the Beat Nuts. So Cassiete was the K7. They were they used to come up to Stretch and Babito at the underground station up at Columbia University at night back in the day. So yeah, I'm just saying my whole point is they engineered that type of stuff out. And even though I was mad young in the 95, 96, 97, it bothered me. And I kept saying that they're trying to destroy our culture. And it wasn't until I got a little older that I started saying stuff like social engineering. I love that, we love Babyface and the deal and, After 7 and all of that stuff. But our kids right now, man, they train us not to love each other.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Do it.
Okay. I want to say this.
What the fuck is that?
That's me being ignorant talking about SBE, man.
I just heard that. That shit is hilarious. I'm sorry. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it.
That was genius. That was genius.
I think I'm gonna retire that joint though, man.
Peace, guys. We gotta do this fitness thing together, bro.
Yeah, man.
Keep it 100.
Yo.
We gotta do it. All right, peace, guys.
No doubt.
But look, let me just. I think I might retire the SBE song, man. Like I think it served its purpose. I think it served its purpose, man. It's comedy. You know what I'm saying? It's not to be taken seriously for real. All I'm trying to do is mock the very notion that we have to restrict what it is that we say. There's a limitation to our expression in a space like this. I just think it's fucking ridiculous, man. But it's coming from a group of guys who, they get attention and money and they get clout for that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did it, bro. And look, I get that there could be, like times where, guys get sick and tired of hearing niggas complain about women and shit. I understand it. Because there have been times when I have as well. But we got to be mindful. We got to keep our eyes on the prize, man. Like this space, it's a necessary space, man. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like if it's not your cup of tea, then jump off the train, man. You ain't got to be here. That's how I feel. That's just my perspective about it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I might retire it because I'm getting tired of hearing the shit myself. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it would be funny, man, for a quick little minute, man, and kind of die down the seriousness of the whole subject matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, fuck all that, bro. I mean, I had to scoff at it to some degree. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna say no names about various creators. I'm not gonna call people out and no shit like that at the current moment, man. I just feel like black men don't need permission to speak about a goddamn thing, whatever it might be about. If they want to cry, fuck it. Like you don't need permission from another motherfucker to cry.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, I understand that weakness. Like what I don't like for men to do is to revel in despair. But that's not what the manosphere is. It's not reveling in despair.
No, that's not even what a good portion of us talk about. The problem that I had with that conversation was, nobody's saying that. Oh man, pardon me. Nobody's saying that these conversations. I mean, me and UG have spoken about the talk about women thing, right? We've spoken about that before. And when I first encountered these guys, I gave it up. I said, yeah, there's a lot of conversations about women, but at the same time, there's nuance even to that. There's the conversations about women are varied. So they're not 100% of the conversations about women are complaints about women. A lot of the conversations about women revolve around informing people what the reality is regarding the law, relationships, different guys' experiences, what you'll encounter, especially as a black man. When you're a black man, like these things, the stakes is higher, right? The stakes are higher, dealing with not just black women, but everyone. So all of these things must be spoken on. We talk about women, we talk about politics, we talk about money, we talk about the law, we talk about current events, we talk about all of these things, but a simp will only have problems with you speaking on the women. It doesn't matter if you cover the gamut of issues. They just don't talk about this. You could talk about all that other shit, your FD signifiers and all this shit. You could talk about everything else. Focus on all the other shit. Just leave this alone because, again, these women are their deity. I keep telling motherfuckers, like, the black woman is God to these niggas. And
Man,
it
look,
really
look.
hurts them to
That
have
Omar
this
shit, I ain't even want to do a video on Omar precisely because, I just hate to, because I actually kind of sympathize with some of this, the devotion that he has to so-called black folks. But at the same time,
you said Omar?
Yeah, Umar, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Umar,
but at the end of the day, bro, like, I'm just tired of him, like, man, infantilizing women and shit, and black women, and allowing any behavior that they do to be part of men's agency. Like black women don't have, like, independent minds that can exercise vice, and like they can't err if we're doing everything right. Like,
at this point, I question his dedication to black folks. The reason why I say that is because it's like I told the SBE guys, you don't build black men up by tearing them down, right? You don't build up black people, especially by tearing down black men. You can't have a community without men, right? So when we say the community or whatever, and whoever made the word up, I don't care, is a word we use now. At the end of the day, when we say that, we're basically saying that what we have is not a community, right? At least the environment in which these things occur. There are plenty of spaces in America where black people exist, where there is affluence and there are families, but nobody talks about those. We tend to talk about the hood, right? The black hood, and all of this. Oh, because the dentist left and this and that. I was having a discussion where it's like, okay, the rich white man does not live in a trailer park because he doesn't want to disconnect to his trailer park community. The rich white man can live in a rich white neighborhood. The middle class white man can live in a middle class neighborhood. The working class white man can live in a working class neighborhood, and the trailer park white man can live in a trailer park neighborhood. But we tell the most successful black men that they got to stay in the worst environments with with people way beneath their class levels because we're all black. Like that shit is the dumbest shit in the world to me. Like, you move out of the impoverished area because now you have money. Anybody else does that. Black folks are always told, no, you can't do that. You have to stay in this area, the same area that you were redlined to stay in. So now you have to serve white supremacy on your own by staying in those areas because your people are now saying that you have to stay here. It's a self-redline, and it's a lot of this stuff that we say, when don't date outside, all this shit serves the very people. Even though some people have different opinions on this shit serves the very people, right? That you're supposed to be going against. It serves their agendas. Go ahead, G. I know you about to show us something.
Yeah, this book here, man, is called The Nationalist Woman. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So motherfuckers need to. I don't know if you can find this on the internet. Let me look and see if you can actually find it on the internet. If you can't find it, I'm gonna try to find a way to make this available to everybody so they can fucking see it. Okay. The Nationalist Woman. Let me see. See if this shit pops up. No, it doesn't pop up.
Just for Stuart D saying, rich white people make policies and most black people that make it out don't understand that and I've been one of those black people who tried to help my fellow this and fellow that. Understand shit. Motherfuckers give us on YouTube heat. You got to give a motherfucker that made it out of the hood incentive to want to help.
I found that shit, yo. I found that. Hey, motherfuckers need to give me some donations just for finding this shit and putting it in the motherfucking chat right here. Look at this shit. Oh.
So understand, Stuart D, when you say what most black people that you got all these. See, this is the thing that kills me. You got your Kanye West, he had his foundation, and you got your Jay-Z that gives, you got your Beyonce that gives, and niggas don't count that shit. They don't credit that shit if it didn't affect them directly. A lot of rich black people definitely give back. They definitely give back. But you know what niggas do? They don't give credit to that shit if they don't get a dime. If it doesn't affect them directly, that shit don't mean it. That don't mean nothing. So when you say what most blacks that make it out and turn around and talk, yeah, but a lot of them do.
I want to say this. The hood doesn't owe you shit because you don't know the hood.
That's right.
And I'm going to say this. A lot of niggas who lived in the hood or lived with a lot of black people, the first motherfucker to hate on you is your own people. The first motherfucker to break into your house is not white. So, motherfuck all that. Why should I fucking stay in a fucking collapsing building? Give a nigga that. Y'all don't want to say the truth. Y'all don't want to say the truth. You want a nigga to come back into these single mother ran homes where you're not going to be the leader. You're going to be a utility. You're not going to have any say. You do something she doesn't like. Oh, you trying to control me. So why the fuck would somebody own up to a bad deal?
Yeah, see what people like Umar they conveniently ignore is that there's literature out here about what needs to be done in order for nationalism to actually get off the ground. Like you can look at nationalism all across the world and see what kind of things that they have in common. And one thing that they don't have in common is cosmopolitan, neoliberal, individual liberty value systems. That's not what you see when you see nationalism. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. You don't see that. Okay, what you see is the establishment of hierarchical order in order to wage war, and then part of that is going to require hierarchy in relationships because you need to reproduce.
Shit.
Okay, and you have to reproduce in a specific kind of way. Now, I'm not saying that this is the trajectory that we have to go, but I'm saying like if you want to wage war or like be confrontational, and if you want to pose a threat to another population of persons, you have to reproduce your population. And then you have to instill within that population a certain mindset. We're not oriented towards doing that shit. I can guarantee you we not. Because right now you got black women talking about divesting and other black women encouraging them to do the shit.
How the fuck can you control the community if you can't even control the kids?
Exactly.
Right. Thank you.
So this is why I put this into the chat. Okay? I put this into the chat because if Umar Johnson is a black nationalist and he's worth his weight in salt related to that, you got to understand the basic building block of any nation is going to be the family. It just is what it is. I've said this so many fucking times. Okay. And here's like, so again, this was written when I was born. Now, this is quoted by the black women in the Combahee River Collective, the black lesbians who consider themselves to be fugly and shit like this. Now, you can tell that they don't even want to start families. These women, outside of the context of their queerness. Okay, so I'm just not, this is just a fact. They quote this document in the Combahee River Collective. That's why I went and searched it out and read it for my goddamn self. Okay? And one of the things that they say in this document is, look, to speak of roles is to be concerned with completion. You got to have a balance of nature. Roles do not mean one is superior or inferior to the other, but necessary, complementary to the whole. But the way that the women in the Combahee River Collective set it up was like, okay, well, there's men who are superior, women who are inferior. And to a certain extent, the document is to us, it is, I mean, like, it establishes a hierarchy. It does.
And that lies the problem.
Therein lies the problem. So what they say is, because if you look at most societies across the world, they're all patriarchal. Even this one. But it is run by white men. The patriarchy here is run by white dudes. Okay? So that's massa. It just is what it is. Now, we can talk about dedication and black nationalism and what we need to do to right the ship. But goddamn it, if you don't control the means of production, you don't control the means of education, you don't administer justice. One of the things we don't have the capacity to do is administer justice. In order to have a nation, you have to be able to administer justice. But you know what? You can't even administer justice in your own fucking home.
Yeah, I mean, gee, there's a lot of other groups that don't have none of the things that black men are being demanded of, right? In this country, there's other groups, other racial groups of men that don't have those things, but you know what they have? They have the cooperation of their women. No matter what you hear on TV or social media, at the end of the day, they have the cooperation that they have that community, right? No matter how poor they are, right? Even in their most impoverished areas, they have the cooperation of their women, right? Because that is their culture, right? So understand, right? When you're asking a man, right, who grew up in some dysfunctional, bullshit, right? And again, to suggest that the only place for a successful black man to live is in the hood is you're saying that every black person in America lives in some sort of hood. And I just said earlier, and I'm speaking to Stuart D. I said earlier, a black man can leave the hood and move and live amongst other black people in his class. There's this idea that to be hood or to be to live in the hood is somehow conflated or correlated with blackness itself, right? And that to live in a manner outside of that is to want to be white or to have proximity to whiteness, when you can very well live amongst your own people and not be in the hood, right? Again, he's saying, well, they have this and that they give to the trailer park. It's bullshit. A lot of these 1% or high up white people, they don't sympathize with the guys in the trailer park. That's bullshit.
No, they don't. They don't even associate.
That's bullshit. It is this idea that because white people as a collective give black people a hard time, that they're on one accord with each other. It's bullshit. I done lived around these people. You can't tell me no different, right? So yeah, so when you say, well, give back, ain't nobody giving back to these poor trailer park meth head trash motherfuckers that are struggling. Them people that don't live there, they living in their their nice gated communities, not having to deal with any social stigmas of who they not giving back to. They use those people for votes and everything else, but there's no connection there. That's why these people, once upon a time, they hated Donald Trump, and Donald Trump then sold them a dream. Now he the fucking man, right? So this idea that they all unified is bullshit. Just like how I tell y'all, these black women hate each other. Y'all think they're a sisterhood. They really not. They just practice white supremacy. It seems like they're together. They're really not, because you remove you from the situation, they hate each other. So to the stewardess and anybody else, I don't owe it to anybody to stay in any situation and put myself or what I've built at risk for any idea of unity or blackness or any of that shit. I'll do what I can. And not only that, there are people, black people, who do shit for black people. Niggas don't fucking appreciate that shit. Let's keep it fucking real, man. Anytime you got rich black people that give to the masses of black people,
Robert F. Smith.
These motherfuckers are rationalizing some other type of way, like, oh, he only doing that for this reason or doing it for that reason or whatever the case may be, right? Yeah, poor people will get behind rich people, but rich people don't get behind poor people, Stuart. It's not real. It's not happening.
So this, my viewpoint.
I'm gonna just say this real quick. A lot of these niggas live in these big cities. You ain't around enough of these poor white people to know what the real deal is, man. So I'm gonna leave it there, bro. Go ahead, bro.
So look, I commiserate with the black people in the ghetto, man. I do, because I'm one of them people from those areas. Okay, so I kind of commiserate with the idea about how the ghettos were formed, because I know the history of how ghettoization came to pass. Okay, and I think it's Can you hear me? Like, can you hear that?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So. And that's why I started to do the ghetto series, and read the Dark Ghettos by Tommy Shelby. And I kind of fell off that trajectory. I think I need to take it back up. But a lot of people weren't watching it. And I don't know why. Because people want to avoid paying the black tax, so to speak. Like, living around poor black people is fucking, it's draining, okay? It is what it is. But the one thing that I do know is this, getting back to the nature of the conversation that we were having, is that, and this is why, I put it up here, and I gave everybody access to this document, right? The nationalists understood, and this is what black nationalists are not saying today, because I think that they're heavily influenced by feminism. But the point is, the black family is the most important area of social organization because it's the example of how everything else works. Okay? The nation is like who we are. Whatever we're doing is what the nation is doing. Whatever we're not doing, the nation is not doing. And the family unit is the basis of all nations, and the understanding of the roles of those who make the house unified is essential. And then the document goes on to say, we understand it is and has been traditional that the man is the head of the house. He's the leader of the house nation because his knowledge of the world is broader, his awareness is greater, his understanding is fuller, and his application of this information is wiser. Okay? Now, do I think that's a little bit chauvinistic? I do. Okay? But here's the kicker related to that, though. How many women really actually are going to respect a man that allows himself to be controlled by her?
No, not many.
It is unnatural for a man to be run by a woman. But women can do and utilize the law to control men, right? And to argue that this isn't occurring to me is ridiculous. Women will run shit if they are allowed to. But they're not going to respect you. This is why we were looking at the clip from Tammy earlier. This is a perfect example of that. Women they're not going to be satisfied with a nigga that's underneath them. But at the same time, they created the social conditions in which they're competing and they're existing side by side, neck to neck with men. So it's a recipe for their own discontent. But I mean, going further, The nationalists say, okay, look, the roles of men and women have to be complementary. They can't be competing. They have to complement each other. But now it's this big fucking competition. Who's better? Who's not fulfilling their needs? Who's not doing this? Who's not doing that? He says these roles are important in that they in turn define responsibilities to the home, the community, and to the nation. In defining the man's role as leader, his responsibilities to his house are defined as being necessary to provide emotional, physical, and economic security. But what if the society at large aren't even enabling you to be in a position to where you can provide economic security? You just showed, I just seen a clip from your channel, Keep It 100, where you got a woman asking for resources from the government and being turned away because she's married. Did you not just post that shit on your channel?
Yeah, you talking about the short? It's like a short video? Yeah.
So, but they didn't do that to white people, though. When it came time for them to receive aid and shit, guess what they did? Like, the New Deal was a form of fucking welfare for white folks. Right after the fucking Great Depression. And then they just start subsidizing white people so they could be in the middle class and shit. Because white people lived in the projects before black people did, dog. Every project, tenement building and shit was first initially occupied by motherfucking white people, bro.
I just told people that the projects was not built for us.
The projects was built for white people. It was temporary. White people didn't live in the fucking projects across this country in the inner cities for no longer than 15 to 20 years, bro. Black people, there's still projects that black people living in that was built for white folks 100, I ain't gonna say 100 years, but at least 70, 80 years ago. They went and got FHA loans and shit. They basically were subsidized to get the fuck out of the inner cities.
Yeah, Levittown. Talk about, Levittown and places like it. The suburbs was built for that.
But at the end of the day, the point is, they say one of the key steps in the process of dehumanization resulting from our present condition of slavery has been destroying the family. Black men and women were separated, given conflicting roles instead of complementary roles, and the creation of various myths assured our nation being disunified. So they already know that the way to attack us is to attack our family structures. Okay? Then they go on to say the necessity of the acceptance of our roles, therefore our responsibilities, is essential in making the black family whole again. To understand, this important concept, blah, blah, blah. But look, together we will win. We are black, beautiful people, together we'll win. But, hey. Then they start to define what the woman's role is. Okay? And then they talk about how men and women are not the same, because men aren't even the same.
No.
Okay? And they say, well, like the value of men and women can be seen as like the difference between gold and silver. They're not equal, but they both have great value, blah, blah, blah. Women are a complement to men, blah, blah, blah. The family entails a man and his wife. White people have destroyed that, even the concept of family life as being a man and a woman. Look at the statistics, man. They saying like damn near, a third of young, people, man, are growing up with this idea of queerness and shit. This is where we are with the shit. Now, I didn't make it this way, but it is what it is. And I can, I think I'm gonna have to revisit this document and kind of go over it again. But if black men are not part of family life, and the white people have problems with how family life is constructed at the current moment because it fucks them over, why should men in a wholesale fashion sign up for that? That would be my question to a person like Umar. Do you think these women, you think men haven't tried to form meaningful, substantive relationships with the mothers of their children? You think they didn't, they just was fucking them and then left? That's a simplistic answer, but it doesn't really actually catch the nuances of what the fuck is actually going on in these kind of interactions. There's nothing tethering people together anymore, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can get married and divorced 2 weeks from now.
Man,
like you used to, you like the Catholic Church. If you got married and you were Catholic, you could not just break the union. You couldn't just dissolve it. You would have to get an annulment. And you would have to go through hell and high water in order to get it.
Better have a damn good reason.
Now it's just like I got irreconcilable differences. What are those? I don't like his face.
Right.
I don't like when he says the word babe, I don't like it.
Right.
He's a Steelers fan.
So it's like, motherfuckers, it's like I see another nigga, his dick is bigger and he got a nicer car. This is the shit that's going on now.
Yeah.
He end up fucking her, knocking her down, and the next thing you know, she dickmatized. But 2-3 months later, he like, bitch, fuck you. I didn't say I was about to be your new husband, bitch.
Listen, I tell people all the time, black people did not come here in the same manner that other people did. And when I say that, I don't just mean as slaves or as immigrants. I mean as families. You have people come here from other countries on a boat, mother, father, kids, right? Same thing with people who come from, south of the border and other places. They, even if they don't come all together, they come one at a time, but they was a family over there. The black people that came here were not brought here as family units, right? We were imported. And the point that I'm making is this. There's a very small time in American history where we were actually, quote unquote, families or quote unquote, a community. It's a very small time period in this country, right? So understand that time period that I'm talking about where, we were, our marriage rates were through the roof and all this other stuff. A lot of that is because a lot of these women, didn't have options outside of us, not those sorts of options, right? And with us, it was dangerous for us to really be trying to be up with non-black women, right? So there was a time where we were, for lack of a better way of saying it, stuck with each other.
Well,
that's changed.
It has changed. I'm gonna tell you what really changed. The dynamics of black families was because the largest concentration of black people was in the South prior to the Great Migration.
Absolutely.
Prior to the Great Migration, black people were not living in densely packed cities.
No.
With populations above 100,000 and shit like that. 200,000, 300,000 people. You were in a community where pretty much everybody knew everybody.
Right.
It's kind of hard for you to be a fuck boy if everybody knows that you're a fuck boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of difficult for you to be, the town whore and not everybody know about it. I don't know if you've ever lived in a small town before, but I have.
I have.
Okay, and I know everybody knows everybody in that motherfucker, and a lot of black people in those environments are related. Right. Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's
people. Period.
So, but the point is, you move from a situation where there was a local community of people who were interconnected and knew each other for decades, and knew each other's families for decades. Now all of a sudden they move. It's like the country mouse moving to the city and shit. It's like little Malcolm Little, moving from the country, then coming and going to Harlem and seeing a whole bunch of niggas doing some different type of shit.
Well, they had to get up out of there because of the environment.
I'm just saying we know why they moved.
Right.
But we also know that when they moved, they didn't They did not take a culture that they were able to preserve as they did so. Within a generation or two, they just became like a ghetto transient population, bro. They didn't come there like that. But that's how they ended up when they, in 2 or 3 generations, that's what was the outcome.
Well, you got to understand that they weren't given anything, right? Like a lot of these, again, former slaves, right? You're free now. Like, you know, they didn't get the shit that a lot of these people that came here on a boat got. A lot of these people that came here on a boat, and I'm talking about white people, you know, they giving the land, they giving this and giving that, you know, all these incentives and shit like that, right? They didn't give black people this stuff. It was supposed to be what, 40 acres and a mule or some shit like this, right? They didn't give us that to build on. They dropped a bomb on Japan and then rebuilt the motherfucker. Right? So, you know, everybody else, you know, that they fucked up, they gave them some shit. Or they didn't fuck them up. They said, hey, people, we have an overabundance of black people here, and, you know, we have to maintain this majority. So if you want, come over here and we'll hook you up. And they came. They came and they got knighted their whiteness. They're doing it again with the Caucasian Hispanics, like I said earlier, because the Europeans don't want to come here no more. Remember, Trump was like, just bringing people from shithole countries. Why don't people from the Netherlands come here? And people in the Netherlands,
people from the Netherlands, Norway, Denmark,
right,
Sweden, they ain't coming to this motherfucker.
Out of here. To them, we're the shithole.
And you know why we're the shithole? Like I even went over this, man. Look, we can go on and on. We at the 2-hour mark, but here's the kicker, man. At the end of the day, black people came to the north from the south. They didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I mean, they got temporary housing, makeshift housing that the government was offering to white people. You know, they got white people's hand-me-downs. Ultimately, but without any kind of real support that was looking after their future such that they could be written into wealth, okay? And not to say all white people have been written into wealth. That's not the case, okay? But the point is, no. At least there were programs for white people to emerge to emerge out of the underclass into the middle class. There was an attempt to subsidize and to give them an economic floor that wasn't extended to black folks. And black folks went from living in relatively small, close-knit communities to living in major industrial complexes, and they lost their ethos. There is no black ethos, really. There is none. There is no overarching or prevailing ethos that black people can point to and say, this is ours.
Well, what was the ethos in those southern areas?
Christianity. It wasn't ours, but at least we made it unique to us.
That wasn't benefiting black people either. But
we've done like, okay, me and Sandog have done shows about this. Like one can argue, okay, without Christianity, black Christianity, you wouldn't have certain colleges that exist. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, like it did everything that needed to be done to salvage the lives and to improve the quality of black people's lives all across the board. But I mean, you can't say that like strong leadership did not emerge from the black, Christian church.
I think we would have had that regardless. I'll also argue because like if that's the case, then
I gotta say this: you wouldn't have had the strong leadership of the black church because we actually had a code back then, and two, that was the #1 gathering place for black people without arising a whole bunch of suspicion or fear.
Yeah. So the way I perceive it is this. There's something called the public sphere, okay? And white people have public spheres in Europe. They have them in America. with their pamphleteer tradition where they share literature with each other. They go to salons and shit like that. They have conversations, kind of like what we do in this online community, but they would do it face to face, or they would do it through, the exchange of pamphlets and shit like that. And they would respond to each other by creating more pamphlets, kind of like how we do today. But I mean, it would be a protracted process because, of course, it takes time to publish written manuscripts and shit like that. But they did it. They communicated with each other, okay? Now, but the point is, the black public sphere used to exist inside of the context of the black church. They talked about politics in the black church. They talked about how they were going to protest in the black church. They talked about what was right and wrong, and they had some sort of, like a moral code that existed within the context of the black church. Now, niggas just living in certain areas, and there is no overwhelming ethos. There's no place where people go together and congregate.
But you still have the black church. So,
but it's a shell of its former self. It doesn't occupy the same place, and it doesn't serve the same purpose. Now, one of the misperceptions about the black church in the past is that the black church was a place that people went to for personal salvation. That's not the function of the black church in the 18th and the 19th centuries for black people. It just wasn't.
No, I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is, in these areas that you're saying black people left, okay, if you're telling me that where they went to in these big metropolitan areas, and I was trying to point out, Legendary Leo says Thomas Sowell explained that black culture is actually white redneck culture. I remember saying that in high school, but I'll get back to that. What I'm saying is, if the black church was this thing, and I'm not saying it wasn't to a degree, what I'm saying is it should still be that in the areas that these black people left. If black people went into these big metropolitan areas and lost their ethos, right? The ethos should remain in the areas where they left, where the black church still is. So what happened in those areas in the South that they left, where black people are still living and there's still a black church? Why isn't that black church still serving the purpose that it once served and maintaining that quote unquote ethos?
What's the culture?
No, but you understand what I'm saying? The culture should be different where the black people went, but remain somewhat the same from the areas they left.
This is what happened. One, you broke up the family when black women had access to welfare. They always wanted to leave, but could not. Now that you gave them a stake in management, they could leave.
But that happened before the 60s, bro.
Then you go to metropolitan areas. I mean, that galvanized during the 70s and 80s. So when you go to a metropolitan area, can you still have down home country traditions? It's very incredibly hard to do. Then on top, church.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And then on top of that, church, especially black church, became a goddamn business. It was no longer about community. It was about business. How much money I can make.
I think I don't want to cut you off. So
me personally, I think there's ups and downs of our relationship with the black church, but I'll leave it at that. I'll discuss it another time. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Because I don't want to let the conversation be, continue on and hang forever and ever and ever. But let me just say this, right? There's a constellation of influences and circumstances that kind of threw off the black community, man, in terms of like what their ethos is. First of all, we can talk about slavery and what the ethos was and like how we use Christianity as a makeshift form of community. But like, even if you look at like the old slave songs and shit like that and the songs they sang, they had double meanings. They were like equivocations and shit. It wasn't like all about Jesus and like personal salvation. Oftentimes it was about freedom and shit. Like when they were singing Negro spirituals. Okay? Like Wade in the Water was like escape songs and shit. Sung in plain view. Okay? It was a revolutionary, antagonistic place in order to, preserve black life. But it became something different. It transmorphed into something altogether different as, you know, black people moved, you know, away from where they were initially, you know, in the South, and they moved to the North, the West, the Midwest, but also our influence, man, by popular culture. We, like, black people are really actually just, you know, white folks without the power of white folks. I mean, because we think just like white people. It just is what it is. We don't, we're not like Jewish people who have a deep-seated religious tradition that we try to preserve. And even Jews themselves don't all practice Judaism in a, you know, orthodox way. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them have been Americanized and they don't practice the shit. So, but there is hardly anything that black people can allude to or point to and to say, this is uniquely ours. This is the, you know, center of our identity. This is the seat of our value system. And this is going to tether me to a black person who lives in California, or a black person who lives in Texas, or a black person who lives in New York. There's nothing connecting us other than the color of our skin. And that's the issue. Like, at least a Jewish person can say the Torah connects us. A covenant that God made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and shit is something that connects us. What connects us?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna point out a huge difference between the Judaism and Christianity. Judaism is not a slave religion, and you know, I say this stuff, and it kind of hits black people a certain way, like, because that's not a you know, a religion that, at least not us in North America, identify with. But the thing the thing about Judaism, see, I wouldn't have a problem with Christianity if it wasn't a slave religion. And the thing about Judaism is it tells you that as a member of the Jewish faith, you're above everybody else. You're better than everybody else. You are to serve the people that are in the religion and nobody else. Right? That's the thing. That's the thing about Judaism. And, you know, before, Stuart D says nationalist. Before that, at the end of the day, this is what it teaches. It teaches, you know, that, you know, it teaches that togetherness. It teaches, it doesn't say turn the other cheek. It doesn't tell you to obey your masters and none of this other nonsense. That's why we were given Christianity and not Judaism, even though the Old Testament is straight out of Judaism, right? We were given Christianity. We were given New Testament. We were given we don't practice the old covenant, right? So that's why, like, for me, I think Christianity, not religion necessarily, but Christianity is one of the worst things that happened to black people, because it made us into these complacent, you know, docile motherfuckers for the most part. So there's nothing wrong with religion, because you talk about Judaism, they follow a religion. The difference between their religion and our religion is that they're master religion and we're slave religion. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so my view on it is, look, you could take Christianity and, you know, talk about how it tells you to obey your master and all that kind of shit. And you can ask the question if black people use it in that manner. Apparently some have.
Most
but
have.
Also some people most. But what I will argue is that, you know, you got to look at the history of black folks and where the radicality came from, and oftentimes it came from people who were preachers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
no,
like,
bro, it's in the book.
What you mean?
These ideas that I'm speaking of, it's in the book itself. You know,
bro. Look, I already know that. Look, right. I went to a Catholic grade school, high school, college, and a graduate school. So I know every fucking book in the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
I'm only responding to what you said about the preachers. At the end of the day, the preachers.
What I'm saying though, Marcus, is this. Mm-hmm. Take like somebody like David Walker's Appeal. That's a radical document that utilizes Christianity in order to demand from black people that they rebel and that they challenge their contemporary position in a slave-based society. So all I'm saying is that there are people who can take Christianity and either use it to be radical, or they could use it, you know, in order to, you know, be obsequious and toady to the status quo. But I'm saying that there is a long line, there's a tradition in the black community. All you got to do is study the history. It's archival. You can go look at it. Okay.
No, but what part of the Bible is he using to do that?
Using various segments of the Bible, not just the Old Testament. He's using the Old and the New Testament. Like, go read David. I fucking read David. I read the entirety of David Walker's Appeal to demonstrate the ways in which he utilized the Bible, both Old and New Testament, to demonstrate that black people ought to fucking rebel against, you know, white folks and to assert their own humanity. Now, I'm not saying that, like, the Bible can't be used in order to demonstrate, you know, like, you know, turn the other cheek. It can be. But all I'm saying is this.
Largely it is. I'm just saying the version of Christianity that the South was practicing is that. It's not the other thing. And that's what I mean.
But I will say this, though. Also, like, Christianity can be used in a variety of different ways. It all depends on how you wield it. It's like a sword. It all depends on how you hold it and what you do with it. You can take the sword and plant it in the mud, or plant it in the soil and do nothing with it and look at it like a cross, or you can use it just like the KKK did, because the KKK is a Christian organization. And them motherfuckers definitely didn't turn the other cheek when it came to violence or asserting their dominance anywhere. So all I'm trying to say is you could use any religious tradition in a multiplicity of ways. Now, just because we utilize it contemporarily in order to, you know, kind of worry about something otherworldly or eschatological, that's on us. But we haven't always, black people have not always used Christianity as a form of, you know, a justification for being passive and obsequious and, you know, settling for you know, slave-based status. There have been some radical blacks who have been members of the church, you know, who have been preachers, who have been some firebrands, some fucking troublemakers.
But they are the outliers. Would you agree?
Well, you know, I'll say this, man. Look, let me just say this, and to be fair, right? Radical, nettlesome social critics and social, you know, revolutionaries are always going to be outliers. Whether they're Christians, whether they're Muslims, whether they're Jews, whether they're, I mean, like, what new religions exist? I mean, shit, Shintos, Buddhists, Taoists, you know, you know, the whole point is that you're going to have very few revolutionaries anywhere you go. Right.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, by and large, and it's not on us. It was given to us. It was actually forced on us. What I'm saying is this, right? I understand what you're saying about religion. That's why I said, to me, it's more about religion and less about Christianity when it comes to, you know, what holds people together, right? Common belief, common culture system, whatever. I'm just saying, in the case of Christianity, which was introduced to us as the thing that I'm talking about. And if we're talking about, you know, the black church as it were in that time period, it was not the thing that, you know, again, the outlier or the fringe or whatever. So by and large, it was about being passive and forgiving. And to this day, Christianity is still within our collective consciousness. We hug judges, we hug police, we forgive, you know, do you forgive your killer? And we forgive them. That is part of our collective consciousness day. And everybody that's in the chat saying we wouldn't have made it out of slavery without Christianity, I disagree with you. And I don't have a problem being the person that everybody's going to disagree with. But it's bullshit. This bow down, forgiving, complacent, all of that shit is still part of the black collective consciousness. They do not ask white people, do they forgive the people that did this and that to them? They don't ask them that because that's not their collective consciousness. You understand what I'm saying? So that's
Hold
why.
on, what's not their collective consciousness? Being
their
forgiving?
collective consciousness is not this turn the other cheek, forgive type of shit.
Of course not. Of course it's not.
But it is
part. But it is part of their so-called tradition, though. It is. It is and it isn't. Okay,
No,
so,
but they practice a different type of Christianity than we do, right? And you said it yourself. It can be used for this, this, and this. But
maybe
today
and
we
maybe
talk
not.
about the black church. When you talk about the black church preaches that. In the white church, they might say this and that and the other, but the KKK does not practice the same brand of Christianity as the black church, bro. But they're both quote unquote Christians, right? And not only that, again, the Old Testament is not the Bible. All right, we again, that's
it's
we
part
can say
it's
well,
part of the
another
Christian
day.
it's part of the Christian Bible, bro.
No, that's what they gave us to read, but that's Judaism, bro. Again, you said you studied all of this stuff.
It's part of the Christian canon. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, it is. Look, I'm not here to get into some sort of theological debate. Look, at the end of the day, we already know that the Torah existed prior to Christianity, because we know that the so-called Christ is a figure that emerged out of the Judaistic tradition.
So
or
where
the
the books
Abrahamic
come from,
tradition.
the
And I'm
Old
not here,
Testament
look,
books.
bro, all I'm saying,
that's fine.
Marcus, all I'm saying is there is no tradition that could have ever been given to anybody black that could be radical at all in the United States.
Absolutely.
But they did take,
we're also
but
saying
radical
that this got
people,
us out of
I'm
our
saying
condition.
that radical people utilize what institutions that existed, and they did radical shit within the context of it. It is what it is. Now, I'm saying the other alternative is what niggas now is skew. Like if you start talking about what traditions we might have had, which I've also called for the recovery of in various ways, black people don't even want to do that shit. Because if black people had any like information related to the history that was beaten out of them, they probably would be fucking worshiping Ogun or some shit like that. Or, some sort of syncretic tradition would have formed and developed like it did in places like Haiti or, like places like Brazil. But we don't have that tradition. And niggas don't even have an appetite for it. They don't give a fuck about understanding like what Papa Legba is and what he might represent, or the Orishas. They don't give a fuck.
But they have no relationship with that. Our relationship is with Christianity. That's why we lean towards that. So,
but we can have but a group of people can develop a relationship to whatever they want to, right?
If it's a historical thing, if growing up, your parents and your grandparents are teaching you a certain thing, that's the likely belief you're going to carry. Just like if you go into the Middle East or Saudi Arabia, you're more likely to be Islamic than anything else. That's just going to be the prevailing shit. That's going to be the prevailing belief, right? There'll be some outliers, but at the end of the day, most people will rock with that, depending on what the culture of the environment is. That is just, it's proximal. That's just what the fuck it is, bro.
But we get that there it's early conditioning and indoctrination of children, but adults, if they wanted to, could develop a relationship with what they forgot or what was beaten out of them if they wanted to. Could they not? But
again,
they could. I mean, I'm not saying it's probable. I'm not saying, but it is possible.
I mean,
it's possible because first of all, let's look.
Mm-hmm.
You look throughout history, people have not been Christians forever. Like Europe, they weren't like adherents of Christianity until it was imposed on them by Rome. People in the Middle East didn't adopt Islam until it was imposed on them by chieftains and shit like that. Now, there's nobody going to impose in a liberal Western democracy like the United States or republic, whatever you want to call it. There's nobody who's going to force you to practice any type of faith. But that underscores my point. The point is, there's nothing that tethers black people together at all. Nothing. Even what was used as a life preserver, Christianity, and taken as a makeshift institution or a set of practices, norms, values, whether you like them or not, black people at least utilized them and squoze what they could out of them in order to manage control of a population and to, I guess, somehow encourage hope or faith in something better to come for people who are living in like dismal conditions.
What I'm saying is any religion could have done that. It's just we happen to been given Christianity for the reasons we were given that. If we were given any other thing to, like you say, tether us together, that would have served the purpose, and this conversation would be different today. It's just so happens that in this particular case, we were given that religion for whatever agendas that the people who gave it to us had in Stewart. No, we did. The Africans did not arrive here to North America as Christians. It's bullshit, right? I'm not saying that the religion does not come from over there, but the us people, the people that arrived here in this country, we did not arrive here Bible in hand. It's bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? So
well,
that's
some Africans were Muslims that came here. I'm pretty sure that there were some Africans who came here who were Christians. Like, because if you look, I'm not saying that it's likely that most of them were, but there is a Christian tradition that exists in Africa outside of the context of Europe. I mean, even some of the early people, you know, like the bishops and shit in the Catholic Church, quote unquote, some of the motherfuckers are African. But I'm not going to even go there because I don't even want to go through history.
Africa is a very big continent, and people talk as if black people that are in North America,
bro, I'm just saying,
we came from all parts of the continent. So,
bro, I'm just saying that there is a historic tradition in Ethiopia. There's a Eritrea, or what would be known as that. There are traditions of Christianity that exist in Africa. Like Saint Augustine, more than likely is a person of African origin. Okay, I'm not here to get into all, and I'm not going to talk about like the artificial dividing line that white people talk about in terms of the Sahara Desert and Southern Africa, or you know, below the Sudan. You know, I'm not going to get into all that shit in the Middle East and who's more white and all of this.
That's not even part of the discussion. All I'm
saying is this, bro. Black people did utilize, even if you say, because I think a lot of, you know, negative reactions to Christianity, personally, I feel is predicated upon Marxism and Marxist attitudes towards religion in general, which, you know, look, I get it. I understand. It was a slave religion, but if white people were Muslims, they would have gave us Islam. If white people were Druids, they would have gave us Druidism. If white people were Buddhists, they would have gave us Buddhism.
The founding fathers weren't Christian. You can look this up.
They were deists, bro. A lot of these guys. Some of them were Christian. Some of them weren't.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they can look. We're not gonna sit here and lie and say that like Anglo-Saxon culture wasn't Christian. Like
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
definitely. Like I mean, they come from a Christian. They come from a Christian tradition, bro. Like I mean, medieval Europe was Catholic, and after that, the Protestants come in, and then they, you know, the Protestant Reformation. Now you got Lutherans and shit like that, and Protestants, and even if they are not like subscribers to this faith in name, the tradition permeates their value system.
I understand.
I mean, there's no disputation of that.
Now you're making the argument that I'm making regarding us. What I'm saying is those people left from where they came from to get away from that, right? Now, of course, they're going to turn around and use that same shit to control us because it was they ran away from the control from where they came from under the same shit. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is this, right? Again, people like to talk about Africa like it's this big ass country and they all got one belief. Yeah, there may have been there's Christians in Africa, but these ain't the motherfuckers that came here. And you know, we talk as if Africans from all over the continent ended up in North America as slaves, and that's not true. Right? So I'm just saying, like when people in the chat or whatever saying, yeah, but this and that was going on in Africa, as if in those areas of Africa, they didn't bring Moors over here as slaves. Is this what we trying to argue here? All I'm saying is the brand of Christianity that we were given in America, and understand that Christianity that comes from the continent is not the shit that we practice here. It's not. That's the King James white man shit. Let's keep it real. So this is the shit that they rewrote the shit. So when you say Christianity is from black areas, understand that it's not the same Christianity. They rewrote the shit to benefit what, or to make it into what they needed it to be. Right? So all that slave shit, all this, all this stuff that the white European kings put into the Bible, that shit is not the shit y'all talking about. I'm just saying. Now, if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. And I'm not talking to you, G. I'm talking to anybody in the chat that disagrees with what I'm saying. It's not the same Christianity. It's not the same text. It's just fucking not. It's not. So that's what I'll say. They gave us the version that they wanted us to practice to control us. Now, religion would have held us together regardless. Like you said, if they was Islamic, they would have gave us Islam, right? And then we'd be saying Islam helped black people get out of slavery. All I'm saying is, I feel Christianity did black people more damage over the years that we've been here than it's done to help us. Religion kept us together, but Christianity hurt us because in the collective consciousness of black people, we view white people, even the paintings and shit of Jesus and the images of Jesus are white people. We look at white man as being closer to God than us in North America, I'm saying.
So my opinion is this. Look, bro, at the end of the day, all I'm gonna say is this, man. Like I said before, bro. Could it be utilized as a slave religion? Yes. But I'm saying that black people took it, commandeered it, and utilized it as a tool for revolution and nettlesome, disruption. That's what they did. Okay.
Because where's the proof of that? I disagree. I'm not trying to have
MLK, what the fuck do you think tradition he came out of?
What's that?
MLK. Like what tradition did he come out of?
MLK was nonviolent, turn the other cheek.
Okay, he was nonviolent, turn the other cheek. But I mean, he still was radical in his resistance against the conditions that obtained. Was he not? Or did he just sit back and say, we accept the injustice that is here? Or did he do something radical that even people with guns weren't doing?
Right. So let me answer your question. That his approach in that manner had nothing to do with religion. It had something to do with our struggle. He felt like fighting for your humanity was a thing, but he didn't use Christianity for that. He used his approach to fighting for humanity for that. So he fought for humanity in a non-violent way, right? So no, he just happened to be a Christian preacher who was saying, let's be non-violent, but he didn't use the Bible to fight for freedom, bro. He probably used it to gain sympathies from people, but not to be aggressive.
Come on,
no,
bro.
That ain't what happened, bro.
At the end, man, look, King basically used Jesus to serve as the ultimate inspiration behind a violence-free movement that was inspired by love to change the culture he lived in. Now, you can say it wasn't radical enough for you. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't niggas slicing motherfuckers' heads open and shit. All I can say is, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to say that Christianity is the best thing smoking. That's not what I'm trying to do. I could give 2, 3, or 4 or 5 fucks. Okay, I'm being honest. And I went to Catholic. I was confirmed a Catholic in the 5th grade. I personally, I've been down this road before, bro. I understand where Christianity comes from. I know what cults it was in competition with in Northern Africa, in Greece, in Rome. Prior to its adoption by Constantine as the official religion of Rome, I understand that, the religion of Christianity was imposed on Europeans by the Roman Empire, and that it took centuries for, Christianity to wipe away in some, slow burn, like the pantheistic traditions that existed within European culture. I mean, because they had a whole different set of gods. They don't even know who the fuck their gods were, because Rome imposed, its system on them, and they became they were romanticized Europeans. Okay, so I'm not here to. I don't want to go over and retrace the whole history. Okay, but all I do know is that Christianity was a religion that emerged in northern Africa, and it was in competition with the cult of Baal, Mithraism, Gnosticism, a whole bunch of different fucking mystery cults. The cult of Isis, Osiris and Horus. It was in competition with a whole bunch of different religious traditions, okay? But the reason that it became what it is because the Emperor Constantine decided it would be the official religion of Rome. Okay. Now I'm not here to say it's a historical fact that that's just how the fucking dice fell down. Okay. Now black people had a religious tradition of their own in Africa, and I already outlined the various places from which black people came. You got some people right now who believe that you already had black people in America and that we're the original Native Americans and shit like that, which I think is crazy. But not to say that there aren't any black folks who ever migrated to the Americas outside of the context of the transatlantic slave trade before it.
Right.
But I mean, come on, bro. But at the end of the day, I talked about how we were part of the Mandinka, the Ogun. I mean, not the Ogun, but the Yoruba. The Igbo. I mean, I already went over like the 4 or 5, like primary places where, the African people were derived from. I already been over that shit. I did an article or a video about this shit. Okay, but at the end of the day, those traditions would have been like there aren't any like if you look across the globe, man, everybody has a religious tradition typically that they've created for themselves by themselves, where they are the offspring of God, and they're favored by God. The Greeks had their own tradition. The Egyptians had their own tradition. The Yoruba had their own tradition. The Igbo had their own tradition. The Mandinka had their own tradition, and many of them were kind of like they had things in common because they come from the same places and shit like this. But I mean, right now what we have is what we got. You got to take shit and sugar and make ice cream out of it. It's just what you got to do.
I understand what you're saying, and
so the only thing you can do, you can't, unless of course you do like the Mormons did and just make up some psycho crazy shit, or like start talking about big head Yakub and shit like that.
Yeah, but see again, that's a bit of a reach. And the reason why I say that is because it's like, okay, there's some crazy shit in Christianity that can be compared to any other crazy shit in any other religion, right? But again, because we identify with it, we accept that crazy shit as opposed to somebody else's crazy shit. And as far as J.J. Diesel, he said, read about Moses. The Bible is not violence free. I never made that claim. Not only that, that's Old Testament, right? So again, what I'm saying is, we would have fought for our humanity regardless. Now, what ties people together, like you said, is obviously, of course, religion and culture, but we were given that. So all of those people that you named earlier who have their own belief systems and own religions that put them up on top, we were given something that put us on the bottom. When we got Christianity here, it told us to bow down, obey, turn the other cheek, and take our lashes. This is the version of Christianity that we were given. We were not given the version that said we were great, we're human, we're equal, none of that shit. That's understand this, right? So that's the point that I'm making. And it still resonates into our collective consciousness to this day, whether or not we are Christian or not. A lot of us still believe these things, whether whatever that degradation happened to our culture outside of that. And again, I agree with Thomas Sowell when he compares our culture to redneck culture. We talk like them. Ebonics is redneck language. Okay. But what I'm saying is, even when we left these areas, whatever our culture became going into the north, the west, anything like that, what I'm saying is one thing that remains is our deference to white people. And that definitely comes from a lot of the things that we were taught, and a lot of that came from religion. Okay, so our rebellious nature is not something that we necessarily drew from the Bible. That's something that we eventually just rebelled as human beings in a fucked up situation. But that's not that, there wasn't shit where people en masse looked into the Bible like, oh, this part of the Bible says that we need to fight these white folks. Now, if 1 or 2 people did that, and like you said, they were radicals or whatever the case may be, you know, I won't deny the existence of those, but by and large, our collective consciousness with Christianity is that we are to be docile. The meek shall inherit the earth, and all of this other shit. And that's just the reality of the situation, bro. You know what I mean? So look, I ain't stomping on nobody's religious beliefs. If you, hey, Marcus, if you want to be a Christian or whatever the case may be, that's fine. Believe what you want. I'm not here to change nobody's beliefs, but you ain't gonna change history.
Yeah,
And that's just what it is.
So look, my only point is, and I'll say this again, man, you got a tradition called liberation theology, you know, which I think that like David Walker's a part of that tradition. You know, he talks about or approaches Christianity through the lens of economic, social, and political oppression. I think MLK did that. Also, you got like the tradition of prophetic preaching, you know, like people like Reverend Wright, who Barack Obama kind of denounced. We was basically saying, God damn America, you know, that kind of shit. You got some people who use it for, you know, spiritual empowerment, who denounce slavery from their pulpits, challenging the status quo, calling for change. I think some preachers did that. I know we know some preachers did it. You also have people who use it again to organize the community of persons who existed in the South. Like, I mean, SLCC, Southern Christian, well, SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Like, it ain't no strange secret that the shit was Christian, okay? Like, many of the people doing radical work. And you also have to understand, these people are not dumb, man. They know that they're outnumbered and outgunned. And they're living in terror, okay? But they're still resisting against it, even though they're told, get in your house, nigga. They still outside like, okay, you got to fucking kill me. I'm not saying that it's the most radical shit. I mean, it wasn't like they had guns and knives and was doing shit like the Haitians. But I mean, even the Haitians were utilizing like voodoo and, you know, which is a syncretic religion, and interpolate some elements of Christianity. But I'm not going to even get into all that shit, bro. At the end of the day, man, you know, look, black people don't have shit of their own because we haven't created anything of our own in this country. Now, Kwanzaa, one could argue, is something that like Mwala Karinga offered or proposed to black people as a, you know, like a rudimentary or a foundational kind of, you know, adoption of a ritual or a practice so they could begin to develop some sort of ethos. But niggas don't do Kwanzaa. They don't do that shit. Motherfucking niggas is like, fuck all that shit. Basically, black folks, man, don't like want to have their own ethos for real.
Well, we're rejecting all of these things because of our collective tie to Christianity. Understand, a lot of this not even that long ago. Like, it ain't been that many generations from slavery, right? We're still kind of, you know, in a way, connected to this stuff, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, bro, like, I hear what you're saying, man. I do. I mean,
this is my thing.
We'll be here forever going back and forth.
Yeah, we would.
But what I'm saying is to think that we can just do this left turn on religion when on any other day people are telling me, you know, that all this other social change and legal this and that takes time, right? And the other arguments that are being made towards me, oh, everything else takes time, but oh, people can just make a sharp left on religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs. Like, come on. At the end of the day, bro, like, again, a lot of these things come from our grandparents and great grandparents. We ain't that many generations outside of slavery and the civil rights era. So of course, a lot of us still hold on to these things. It's slowly going away, to be honest. Like, a lot of religion is dying, period. Like, especially here. Especially in developed nations, religion as a concept is slowly fading away because we're coming out of that time period where we didn't understand the world and the environment around us, where we had to make up shit to believe in this and that, right? So understand, like, you know, most of our subjective beliefs come from what we were given to believe, and it's the only thing that one of the things that we still cling to. we still cling to, right? Like we didn't get it from that. A lot of our culture comes from poverty and slavery, and that's including our religion. You got motherfuckers that really believe that the white man bringing us to America was some great thing, or the taking over Africa was some great thing, that they civilized us and all. This is what people actually believe, right? So,
Ian, man, hold on, man. Look, Ian, what's cracking, man? Y'all ain't talked to each other in a minute, have you?
What's good? What's good, Marcus? What's good? How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Y'all beefing with each other or something, man? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, man, I saw that nigga on the corner of 48th and 5th, man.
Y'all need to cut the bullshit out, man. You know what I'm saying? Behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It's like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, and descended to the skirts of his garments.
What are you?
I'm reading from the motherfucking Bible, man. Now, how about that shit?
Here we go with this nonsense. Here we go with this.
That's a poem from Psalm 133.
I wouldn't know.
I know you wouldn't know.
It's been a minute, man. I used to be in church every Sunday with my grandmoms. Again, like I came up the same way everybody else did.
She chewed snuff too, didn't she?
No, she didn't chew snuff, nigga.
Grammy, go get my cup, boy.
What's going on, Mr. Graves? Tell us something good, man.
Hey, man, but you know what I think, though? I think that the whole conversation is a moot point, because what I think is what Green Gorilla has pointed out in the past. I think the school system, I think, is essentially responsible for the homogeneity. Homogeneity.
Put it that way.
Homogeneity, in terms of the thinking of that we are all one and the same. So I think that when that kind of rigorous training into the mental framework of a people, I think that's when you're going to see a change in how they operate under the religion. I don't think it's the religion itself. I think it's the school system itself that basically turns the minds of the people to mush, to where they think as this one. Because I think the idea that somehow if we didn't have Christianity, and what he pointed out is that a lot of the times religion was by force. So when you had this mass movement of people under one umbrella, that didn't happen naturally. So the idea that a religion itself is going to uplift the people, right? I think is a farce. There's no religion that's going to be able to do that, because I don't think human beings had evolved enough to respect ideas as something to galvanize around. I think what the times that you're talking about, people were galvanizing around more tangible things, right? The idea of being able to galvanize around the idea, I think, is kind of a nostalgic view of history for the most part.
So Marcus says, "Man, can't
do me a favor. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Both Ian and Marcus, read the private chat and keep the conversation going. I'll be right back."
Okay. All right. So, I'm gonna speak further. I'm gonna let Ian rock. Marcus says, "Man can't live without religion." There are plenty of places where, people are generally atheists. Governments have when people say that tells you kind of like they don't really know much. I think that Black people in America would have unified around their experience if for lack of a religion that they were given. I mean, to be honest, they were given religion to keep them from revolting. Okay, so Black people as slaves were revolting before there was a religion. So they were given religion to tell them, you know what, stop revolting because God doesn't like it.
Well, I agree with that. I definitely see when you make that argument of I don't like the fact that you made the argument one religious versus the other. The idea of without the religion there was a possibility. I can be open to seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, religion in itself, for the most part, when it's applied to a broad scope of people, it's something that's imposed, and that imposing, right, becomes, automatically becomes something mindset of the people, away from a freedom.
Right. So, religion, wherever it is a control device, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a, oh, we're gonna bring people together, like you said, whatever religion you want to talk about, it was enforced by the sword or the gun or whatever. You had to make people accept these belief systems. You have people that believed in one thing and somebody came and said, no, you're going to believe in this now or you'll die, right? So you had these black people who, for some reason people are saying, oh, they wouldn't have made it out without religion. These black people who you couldn't control them because they were fighting for their freedom. And in order to calm their asses down, you said, listen, unless you want to burn forever, you'll listen to us. And here's the book that we're going to give to one of you. And he's going to tell the rest of you that in order to have this everlasting life, this paradise, this and that you have to do what we say. Right. So when I make the comparison between this religion and other religions, it's not this. What I compared Christianity to Judaism, which the book that we call the Bible is a combination of those. Right. Judaism does not teach its people to be slaves. It actually says that people should be their slaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're goyim, you're I forget the words they use, man.
Yeah, that's what that was. That yeah, right.
It's one of them, right? But and religion is also like Zen says, that's another point. That's another good point. He said it's divisive, right? Again, if black people in America, they want to attach themselves to the belief system that was given to them by the same government that they're fighting, they're free to do that. I say that about religious people. I say that about simp niggas. Anybody who, I'm not here to change your mind about shit. I'm here to tell you what it is. And if you either grasp it or you don't, right? So when it comes to religion, right? And again, I grew up in this shit just like everybody else was. And I had to come upon these ideas or these points of view, these realizations by looking at, where these ideas came from, the origins and the histories and all of that stuff, right? You got to look at why you were given this thing to believe in the methods that it was given to you. You didn't come here.
Let me add this, though, because so the way that I'm looking at it though is that the institutions of America, because you were saying that they weren't Christians, but they did. Most of the institutions were Christian, right? So in order for black people to rise within the institutions set up by the people that were given, they had to coalesce to Christianity. You know what I'm saying? That in order to progress within the societal structure, because yes, the founding fathers weren't Christian, but just like us, they instituted Christianity on white people too, as well as a control factor. You see what I'm saying? So
I do.
It wasn't just us.
But your place in the Christianity is the problem. So in other words, what I'm saying is, it's like, these white people over here, they practice in Christianity, and the Christianity that they're giving you is like, if you look at, like, I think somebody mentioned the Mormon shit, right? I think that in Mormonism, people who have dark skin are like cursed or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I'm sure there are black Mormons, right? Somewhere, right?
It is.
But they're accepting that in that belief system that they are the cursed people. So I understand that, if the greater society is of this belief that in order to function and navigate through that system, that you have to at least appear to share the beliefs of the greater society, but you don't have to accept your role in it. And a lot of us, our collective consciousness is tied to our role in Christianity as you know, we are the you know, the weak that should inherit the earth, and
But
we
you know,
have to
but you,
be
Marcus,
this.
but my thing is, what I'm saying is, you know, even going deeper, don't you think that idea of who we are and that identity was formed before Christianity? Don't you think that so I said the school system was part of the conditioning. Don't you think slavery as a homogenic tool also caused black people to be docile? Because so
Not
say
nah, because you had to give them religion for them. Part of them giving us Christianity was for us to relax into slavery. Now, the violence and shit like that did its job to a certain degree, right? And even the breeding to a certain extent. And that's I tell
but the breeding, but because all you need, see, there you go. All you needed was the black woman. You didn't need a religion. The black woman was the one who did most of the dociling type of thing.
yeah,
And
but that
woman
doesn't
and
that only goes but so far, Ian. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, whether look, people will always revolt. Like, you got, you know, the whether we attack a Vietnam or an Iraq or whatever, you got the insurgents or whatever the case, whatever you call Viet Cong. It gets, you know, those earlier generations are like, no, this is like contrary to humanity. Like, we're not supposed to be caged up, locked up, this and that and the other. Now, of course, generations pass, and again, you grow up with some sort of idea that this is my place, because I'm growing up, I look around, the white people are in charge, the black people work, and this and that and the other. But again, that works to a certain degree. So, like, even today, you have things that they do to control the minds of people. It's better to control people psychologically than to control them, you know, with aggression and violence, because they'll always revolt. You have to make them believe that there's a bigger thing than all of us that's saying, look, this is your place, right? And people will even reject that, but it'll be less than, you know, how many would reject the other stuff, right? Again, they gave the slaves Christianity for them for them to relax into their station, relax into their role in that environment. Like, look, God says, you know, be a slave. He says that if you reject slavery, you are disrespecting him. And, you know, if you believe that there's a higher power, then
but what I'm saying too is this. I'm not sure that even with the prevalence of this indoctrination, how many people so is it so just what I'm saying is, like, you have a lot of people who fail school, right? You know what I'm saying? They just don't take to it, right? I mean, how much influence, or how much can you attribute to indoctrination when the majority of human beings don't take to indoctrination because hell, they just don't have the intellect. You know what I'm saying?
you think the majority of human beings don't take to indoctrination? I would disagree with that. I would say most people.
What I'm saying, kind of an in-depth idealistic indoctrination.
Well, they might take, if they don't accept one form, they accept another. Right. So, like, whereas you know, again, I was telling BGS and Dr. Thunder, I said the same way that we are indoctrinated to worship our women are indoctrinated to believe that they are better than us in the black community, that they're worth more, you know, that they're more important, or they're above us in the black community. So, like, that's a form of indoctrination that I compare our culture that worships women to a religion all the time, even though it's not, you know, technically a religion.
Right.
To me, anything that we believe, that we were taught, and, you know, has no, you know, it's just kind of like a faith-based thing, I like to call, you know, for all intents and purposes, a religion. And especially we deify, or we make sacred, a certain group of people, or a certain, you know, gender, or whoever. But what I'm saying is, okay, so, like, even if you reject the idea of religion, there might be some other indoctrination that you might be accepting. So understand that most people, I would say most people, fall for some sort of indoctrination one way or another.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would say I wouldn't say that's the minority. I would say that's the majority.
Well, yeah, yeah. I'm saying that particular way, okay, through the religious indoctrination. I don't think that you can catch all the human beings like that, or I don't think you can even catch the majority, because again, not again. I think, because I've had this idea, right? I've always thought in my mind, I've never really expressed it, that even if you do as a man, and this is why I'm go so hard into this black masculine, because even as a man, if you're given a white man as the pinnacle, right, your manhood, whether or not the white man is put at the pinnacle or not, your masculinity, right, and your alphaness, right, you know what I'm saying, is not. I'm saying, we'll say, okay, you know what I'm saying, like your name, like Marcus Aurelius. You're just gonna be like, okay, you're gonna see him not necessarily as a god figure. You're gonna look at if you're a man, you're gonna look at if you have not been emasculated, what you're going to see for and foremost are the masculinist principles, right? The masculine principle, and you're going to identify with that. And so the idea of him being above you, I don't think that's easy to do with a man who still has his masculinity. I think indoctrination and what you're saying, I think is more appropriate to apply to when you're talking about females or or emasculated males, but males who still have their masculinity. So I would put more stock on the female being the proprietor of this gentleness and turn the other cheek, because again, any man in his masculinity, regardless of the figure that you put above him, if he has those masculine principles, he's going to identify masculine principles also in that white, red, whatever other man. He's going to be like, I'm just like that motherfucker, because this is how masculinity operates. Masculinity doesn't operate from just this idealistic, figure, like I just see through my eyes type of thing. Men are not necessarily indoctrinated, can't be, I don't think, indoctrinated just by showing a picture.
So let me ask you this, right? Let's say I were to rock with everything you just said, because a lot of that was you added the qualifier that a man must not be emasculated. Now we talking about black men and we talking about black men in North America, right?
Yeah.
So we are talking about emasculated men to a degree, and for the ones who were not emasculated, how would they perform their masculinity in the environment that they existed in? So you got to understand, like, you're not going to emasculate all the men, but then if the men who resisted being emasculated, right? How do those men perform, their masculinity in a space that doesn't allow it?
True.
Right. So then again, you have that. You have guys who are masculine and guys unable to perform as masculine men. And then you have the environment seeing this and reacting to it. The women, the girls, the boys, right?
Yeah. And that's where I'm at. That's where I agree, because you have the indoctrination, but without the environmental factors, pure indoctrination becomes a moot point. You know what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying when you're talking about with regard to men.
No, but indoctrination happens in the majority, not the minority. So you have your indoctrination, and then for the rest of the guys who are, like I said, resisting that indoctrination, those are the guys that you force your will upon. So it's like, just like when you are spreading a religion initially, there are wars to spread these religions, right? Because you got to force people into this thing at first, and then the religion takes over and it takes things into autopilot. The same way that, here it's like, okay, you bring the first Africans here, they were free, you brought them here to be slaves. You have to, hit them with the whip and all this other crazy shit. And generation after generation, there's less of that you have to do, because again, you're breeding slaves into the environment. That's one form. So it's a social indoctrination. Then there's another, the religious indoctrination. And for the remaining men who neither one of those things work on, you gotta be aggressive with. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, again, the majority of the people, the majority of the men at least, you're gonna get them with, again, they're in the social environment, seeing how things work and going along with that. Oh shit, we lost Ian. Oh, he's back. So you have the the social indoctrination, then you have the religious indoctrination, which religious indoctrination is a form of social indoctrination. But when I say social indoctrination, I mean watching how people interact with each other. The white man's the boss. You know, we are the slaves, etc., yada yada yada. And the rest of the slaves, you see them working, you're the one that say, hey man, I think we should run away. And they like, why would you want to do that? You gonna get us in trouble, right? Because you're the guy who's saying, fuck this shit. I'm not like y'all. This shit is crazy. Understand? Yeah, social norms and cues. Thank you.
All right,
Chief
man.
Rocker.
I'm back, man. What's cracking?
Right. So yeah, I just want, yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna finish this point up. So, and we're gonna have to jump off of here soon. We've been on here 3 hours. But all I'm saying is your social, your religious indoctrination, and then for the rest of those men who still try to perform as masculine men in an environment that does not cater to their masculinity, we gonna have to show them who's boss. And that's how that works. You understand what I'm saying?
So look, man, yeah, I'm sorry that I had to dip off, man, but you know, I had to take a shit. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you was gonna keep that personal. You put it in the back chat, nigga.
Well, that's because I was letting y'all know. I ain't want to say it while I was ducking off. You know what I'm saying? Now that I feel,
you might as well say
now I
it.
feel lighter and you know,
Empowered.
brighter,
He feels
you know what I'm saying?
Fluffier. You lighter and fluffier.
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm like Patti LaBelle. I feel good all over, motherfucker. Feel good all over. But anyway, that's TMI, man. I shouldn't have said that shit. But at the end of the day, you know, look, black people have been deracinated. You know, we're like Jason Bourne with no skills and shit. It'd be different if we had some skills. We don't have any, man. You know, like we're like Neo without the programming from Morpheus and shit. We don't have no uploads, no nothing. Okay? We just in this bitch like Moses was in the wilderness looking for the promised land. So, you know, I mean, we know this tradition, man. Like, but the ethos that black people have in America is the ethos of white people.
Right.
I think in general, but at the same time, that ethos doesn't serve us because we don't have any power inside of the context of, you know, their larger culture. But most white people don't have power either, though. Like, I mean, to be quite frank, it ain't like, you know, like most white people are like deeply involved in government and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They're not. But one thing that they can depend on is that that government is going to work to their benefit. That government is going to work on their behalf. It's going to subsidize their life and work towards improving and ameliorating their condition. Whereas with us, we can almost guarantee that it's going to do the exact opposite.
Hey Jay, let me ask you, whatever ethos that we had on the continent before we got here, right? Would it be safe to argue that if that ethos had not been removed by all the methods that I laid out here and replaced with Christianity, that ethos wouldn't have been just as effective as people are trying to claim Christianity has been? Like, understand, right? There's a reason why it was removed.
Of course,
right?
I mean,
so
like
whatever. No, just real quick. So whatever belief system that we had coming out of Africa that put us as, you know, the special people coming out of Africa, couldn't we have used that ethos, that belief system that made us special, made us divine, made the image of the black people who came to North America divine, Wouldn't that
But
have held us
Marcus,
together?
but Marcus, let me answer. But Marcus, I don't think that we had a religion that did that.
Okay, so what's the I'm not asking this question to give us another 30 minutes to speak, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want people to take that away as food for thought, right? That we came here with whatever you want to call it, a belief, an understanding, some sort of thing that was over there that we had, that I gotta say it that way because we don't know what the fuck it is, so we have to promote Christianity as
But
the great
we
shit.
know what the fuck it was, bro. Like, if we know where we came from, what geographical locations we came from in Africa, we have some indication of what those religious traditions were.
So why are we shitting on that to pump up something that we were given to accomplish a goal of the people that gave it to us, right? It's like without this, we would be nowhere, as if what we came here with wouldn't have been just as effective and would have gave us a greater purpose for being and believing, and gave us our own images, our own beliefs. You know, and again, I'm not necessarily a religious person by any means, like, you know, from whatever people, you know, make up or whatever stories. But what I'm saying is, I think that what African people believed in their native environment gave them more how can I say, belief in themselves, gave them more self-esteem and self-value than what we were given here. So to promote this white religion like it saved us and it did us this great service to me, it's like I don't even want to say how I feel about it.
But
let me interject here. So look, I'm not saying that like this shit did us some good. I'm not saying that it's inherently superior in terms of a theological tradition than any other. I've never made any comment in that direction, and I'm not saying that you said I have.
I'm responding to the chat, really.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that, you know, like, look, black people in America took what they had and they did the best they could do with it. Okay.
But they took what they were given. Let's say that.
Okay. They had been given. How about, like, if I use that language? They took they took what was present, okay, and they utilized it to the best of their ability, okay, in order to forge out a radical tradition. And I think that it doesn't even matter, man, like what the religion was, okay? Given the circumstances in which these people lived, there was going to be a contingent of people who were undergoing that experience who were going to resist against it. Whatever the fucking religious tradition was.
That's my point. I agree with you. That's my point.
Okay, now all I'm saying is that to say that inherently it wasn't utilized, you know, like, I mean, like, it's inherently evil and it caused a lot of people to be docile. I think, like, violence caused people to be more docile than Christianity did. I think, you know, like, fucking branding irons and shackles and whips and shit like this were more intimidating and had more of an impact and effect on behavioral modification than did, you know, scripture. But that's just my opinion. But at the end of it all, you know, like, sorry about that. And I'm gonna type this because I want to make sure myself before I say something and it's inaccurate. I'm gonna look it up online. What religious traditions did these people hold? Specifically, by name. Okay. Yoruba, Voodoo, Candomblé, Santeria, Palo Mayombe. These are the traditions that Africans had, man. You know, and some of it's going to be syncretic, but ultimately, you know, like, they had Ifa and Orishas and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order for black people to even get to touch what they lost, and I know this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but And after this shit, I'm gonna do my motherfucking Dave Chappelle and hit the escape button. But you would have to be Pan-African.
But another day, another time.
Right. Exactly. That's why I said I'm gonna hit this motherfucking panic button, and then the reason why I say that is because it will require the recovering of your identity prior to the erasure of your, your cultural memory. It will require you to, I'm not saying you would have to adopt it wholeheartedly or accept it in terms of like literal translation. Like I've always said, black people in America taking on the customs and the traditions of Africans outside of the context of their own lives and experiences would be alien. It would it doesn't even make sense to do that shit. However, at least trying to understand and studying it historically, niggas study all kind of white shit. Niggas have no problem studying American history, Greek history, Roman history. But one thing niggas will not do is study oogity boogity history.
I ain't get
Why we gotta study them motherfuckers over there?
When you said Pan-African, I don't think the study is tantamount.
To me, it's Afrocentric. To me, it all emanates from a. Let me just say this shit, right? Like, okay, let's say, for example, I'm born in a household, I don't know who my daddy is and shit. Everybody want to know who, well, I ain't gonna say everybody because we got such a fucking gynocratic culture, but most motherfuckers naturally would want to know, who's my daddy? Like, who is this motherfucker? Like, I want to know, like, where I came from. Like, most people have a natural inquisitiveness to know, like, to have an understanding of, like, where did I come from? What are my roots? Even if they're cut off from them and they're deracinated. They have this desire to like, who am I? And the extent to which you have an aversion to that process because you hate the very proposition that is connected to some place or some area geographically or historically or culturally that is so maligned and despised and stereotyped and derided and made to be perceived as inferior, I think, that's a little bit pathological. I'm just, and again, and I think D. Stewart Knight is also right about this. You can't just, it's not like you can go to Africa and you're going to get all the answers. Because them motherfuckers are confused too. They've been colonized. It ain't like, it's not as if they are, like they have all of this insight and, all we got to do is go there and all of the answers will be provided, like fucking Neo went to the Oracle and then he went behind and met the Maker and then all of the answers were given. Like, even when Neo met the Oracle couldn't give him all the fucking answers. So you're not going to get all the answers from Africa. This is why I love Afrocentrism to a certain extent. My argument is that all of the answers can't be provided by Afrocentrism in relation to deference for people from Africa, especially in the case in which Africa are themselves engaging in practices which are self-abnegating. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I showed the picture, like I'll show you why. This shit is just absolute. Like you think I lionize? Some people think I'm just lionize like Africa, like where Africa can do no wrong, but that's not the case. I can definitely demonstrate to you why I think that's not the case. I think that's some absolute fucking bullshit. But anytime,
and let me say this too.
Hold on. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, let me say this too. I think to the point of Marcus though is that revolution, right? I don't think there's a historical precedent set where a group of people who were brought into an enclosure, right, are seen as being able to have some agency to develop a revolutionary anything. So I think to some degree, even having that conversation in the context, because people like to compare Haiti and different other people, but and even in Africa, okay, where they have their own religion, they're still around their own people. We were took completely out of our own environment. You see what I'm saying? And so I don't think that you can even really make comparison in terms of what agency of religion is going to give you, and so on and so forth, because there is no precedent set for how the hell does the people who are put into a cage, right, stripped of all their name, language, understanding of who they are, and then how the hell are they going to get out of there?
I understand. I'm only challenging the idea that Christianity is some, and again, this is not about you, G. I'm just challenging the idea that Christianity was some great shit that happened to black folks, and it took us out of bondage and all this other dumb shit.
I'm not, I would.
I know that's
I would
not
never
your
make that
argument.
kind of argument. But this is what I will say: to say that some people in Africa are not out of their fucking minds would be an understatement. When I see this shit here, okay, when I see indigenous Africans,
right,
wearing fucking wigs like white people and shit,
right,
to imitate white people. I'm sorry. But that would, like, imagine white people in fucking Europe wearing fucking black people wigs and shit while they fucking conduct justice procedures. It would be fucking ridiculous. Like, but this is a fucking actual reality in Africa.
They associate that process with white people. Understand, G. Remember a lot of our first discussions when you know, like kind of like the inception of your channel, right? We were talking about Pan-Africanism and things of that nature. And I made my criticisms of what those people do over there, because we often hear about how disunified black people in America are, and then when you look at Africa, there's this idea, and I'm not saying that you said this was your argument, but there's this idea that, you know, over in Africa, everybody is kumbaya, holding hands, and they're not doing a lot of the shit over there.
That's not the case.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like we have this idea, and not only that, but this idea that every country in Africa is just, you know, holding their arms open, just waiting for the American black motherfuckers to just arrive and say, how long we've been waiting so long for y'all so we can build this power base. And it's like, look, I'm not against learning your history. I'm not against knowledge yourself. I'm not against knowledge, you know, of, you know, Afrocentric, things and educations and all of those things. I'm not against none of that. So that's why, like, when you said Pan-Africanism, when the word on his face is like, I react to it, of course. But then when you say, okay, I'm not saying take the whole thing, but just, learn some of this history to kind of like reconnect yourself back to what it was before we got here. Oh, I'm totally for that. But
furthermore, let me just say this though, okay, and just to be clear, okay, Anglophilia or Caucophilia, whatever, I mean, however you want to call this, this crazy phenomenon, man, it's world fucking wide, okay? It's happening in India, which means that it's happening in Asia. It's happening in Africa with white people. African people are bleaching their skin. Asian people are bleaching their skin to try to look like white folks. And for whatever reason, we know why, okay? Because psychologically, black people and Asian people and people of color the world over have somehow made the weird lack of melanin that a small amount of people have become a favorite trait. Now, I don't know what about whiteness is beautiful in and of itself. I just personally, I don't see it.
But this media, bro. We know why that is.
Well, okay, I get it, but this is what I'm saying. Beauty inheres in people of all colors, in my viewpoint. And ugliness inheres in people of all colors.
Right.
Okay, so there's some butt fucking ugly white people, man. Just because their skin is white or their lighter skin doesn't make them more beautiful. That's just my opinion. Like, okay, just because your skin, you can be a light. You know how many ugly ass light skinned chicks I done seen, man. Now it's some pretty ass motherfucking light skinned chicks, but it's some pretty ass black motherfuckers.
Check this out, G. I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna piss a lot of niggas off in here, and I got a good 5 more minutes until I gotta jump. But yo, Ice Spice is average, okay?
Yeah, she's average as hell. Goddamn.
Ice Spice is regular, nigga. Okay, regular. All right, bitch look like unseasoned chicken. All right, like motherfucker. Oh my god, Ice Spice is bad. Motherfucker dropping $500,000 on. Fuck the fact that she's from the Bronx, even though that's part of the argument niggas make.
She got some ass. She got some ass on her though.
She got some ass on her, so I give her that. That's to her credit, there, brother.
That's not even the most impressive ass I've seen.
It's not, like, but it's okay though.
It's just it's there. It's there.
Wide, okay.
It ain't no shit that'll make me turn around, bro. She got muffin top, my nigga. Like, bro,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
A little bit,
but bro, then that take her with the, she got booty.
Nigga, I'm 52, bro. Like, nigga, I'm just saying, man. I ain't gonna say. I'm like Slick Rick back in that song where he say, "Let me spell our name out for you. It's Ricky. All ravishing, I impress. See, courageous, cool, careless." But one of the things he said was, "See, I'm not picky. My name is Ricky. Let me spell it out for you. I'm not picky."
It's one thing to be picky. It's another thing to overrate a bitch.
Yeah, that's true. Look, to me, look, my mother was light skinned. My grandmother looked like a white woman. So all that shit about who's beautiful, who ain't, all that shit don't even matter to me.
She looked like she got a touch of the syndrome too. If you look at her face.
Come on,
she got
bro.
She got them corky eyes, bro.
Listen.
This nigga said she got Down syndrome. Come on, bro.
Come on, man. She got the look at her face, bro. Pull a picture up.
Come on, man.
Pull a picture up, bro. She got a touch of that shit, bro.
Straight up, bro. For real, bro.
And she's special. She's special, bro. You know what I'm saying? Special Olympics, man. She looked like she got just a touch. Just a touch. She got a touch, nigga.
Just a little bit, just a
little bit.
I can see it. I can see it. It's a little, man. You can say maybe a little bit. Maybe a
little bit. She got a little bit.
Come on, man. Y'all fucked up, man.
Just a little bit. Just a touch of that syndrome, nigga. She got that light crazy, goes on. She got that I saw glass.
Y'all fucked up, man.
Who remember the I saw glass commercial? She got that I saw glass.
But look, all I can say is this: my grandmother looked like a white woman, man. I can show you this shit right now. My grandmother looked like a motherfucking white lady, bro. Real talk. See that shit right there, man? That's my
grandmother look better than Ice Spice.
Man, look, well, I agree with that, but the whole point is, my grandmother looked like a fucking white lady to me.
Yeah, but she looked like I feel you, but she looked like one of the women that, you know what I'm saying, like you would have seen in the movies, man. Ice Spice looked like she got something missing. There's something missing there, man.
But the only point I was just trying to make is that there are some white people, there are some white people in this world who have light skin, but they're ugly as fuck.
Right.
I mean, just period. Like, I mean, and whiteness can't save them. Whiteness does not make them look better.
Right. But you put them chicks on the pedestal enough, and then they become the standard, right? So, and I posted something on Facebook that I'm gonna address on my stream, and it has something to do with white women and black men in the movies, right? That's some Facebook shit. But if you promote, it's like you hear a song enough, right? This shit could be trash, but you hear it enough, you might be like, oh, this shit is all right. You know what I'm saying? All right. And that's the same thing with these skinny white women. Squeeze, they put them in the jeans, and they make white women look good in the jeans. Like, no, but again, it's pointed out by Sir Mix-a-Lot, like you make them the standard by promotion. So they become the standard that everybody else is looking at. Like, look at these women up on the pedestal. We need to look like that.
I'm gonna tell you who. To me, you might say she look regular. To me, she's a young girl, okay, but she's fucking beautiful to me. That's just my opinion, though.
Pull up. It's regular.
You done seen her already. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, that bitch regular. You take all that shit off. Okay, she's done up. What Kev say? Adjustable, right? The bitch is adjusted. That bitch regular, bro. Take all.
You know what I'm saying?
She might be adjustable as well, but I mean, to me, she just bad as a motherfucker. That's just my opinion.
I put Coco Jones way above a motherfucking Ice Spice any motherfucking day, any day.
Yeah, she just bad as a motherfucker to me. Her body bad and her face bad.
Right. So this is basically to our point. You got a woman here that's obviously melanated, way more melanated than the pink skinned chick that we was talking about 5 seconds ago. Okay.
Yeah, Coco Jones bad, and she can sing like a motherfucker. She can sing way better than Beyonce. That's just my opinion. I fuck around with music. So at the end of the day, I think she's dark skinned, but she's pretty. It is what it is. Like, prettiness doesn't have a connection or an attachment to paleness.
Yeah, we know, but media.
So then the question becomes when
indoctrination, right? Indoctrination.
But when these other countries are doing it, what does that mean? Does that mean Christianity is the influence, or that's just what it is in terms of white domination around globally?
What I was saying to Ian when you jumped off, G, is that earlier you made the argument that the physical shit is bigger than indoctrination, and I have to disagree with you. I think that indoctrination does more than, because again, you have to introduce the indoctrination so that you don't have to fight revolts and revolutions and things of this nature, because now you have controlled the mind into believing that, okay, this, that, and the third. So even this example that we're using now, where we talking about lighter skin, darker skin, nobody's doing anything aggressive or physical to force these people into these belief systems. It is indoctrination that they are now feeling like lighter skin is more attractive than darker skin. It's indoctrination. This is media indoctrination. Indoctrination is many forms of indoctrination: social, religious, and that's media. You know what I'm saying? You put a certain type out front, and that becomes the standard. You don't have to enforce your will. And that's why our military or black nationalist responses to some of this stuff, they're like, oh my God, they're so violent. But the reason we're here is violence. You use violence and then use indoctrination to get us here. So now you're making the argument against violence, because then that will take the power that you use violence to gain away from you, right? But again, indoctrination, right? That's how we're here. That's why we got perms and conks and bleachings of the skins and all of this other stuff, is because of indoctrination. So indoctrination.
I pointed out, I think a lot of that comes through the female, not necessarily through the male, though.
No, and again, men can be indoctrinated just like women can to a certain degree. If that weren't the case, then more of us than less of us would be revolting in a different way against this system. But a lot of dudes play along to get along. It's happening even in this space. You got a whole faction of dudes. Right. You got a whole faction of dudes that's saying, this, that, and the other, and what's the matter with y'all? I don't want to even say any names. But like, to hear some of these guys talk is crazy. Right. So again, once you control the mind, you don't have to put chains on the body. It's a mental bondage. Again, all this simping is indoctrination. You don't have the women don't got to do. We talking about simping, so we talking about men, right? We saying that on one hand, well, men can't be indoctrinated, but they are, even in our culture. Apart from all this white man shit that we want to talk about, even in our black culture, black American culture, the women run it, and they do it by indoctrinating the men from young. So of course, men can be indoctrinated. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. That's just like Jomo Kenyatta in his book. I tell this story sometimes when he wrote, in order for them to create the Mau Mau, to throw out the French and throw off the colonization or whatever, he said in his book, we had to overcome the matriarchy. And basically they did it through overcoming the mating and dating dynamics that white supremacy that had helped to set up, essentially, because he tells a story about how, what I'm saying, they stopped pedestalizing their women, you know what I'm saying? And once they stopped pedestalizing their women, they could focus on the business of what men had to do, and that was overcoming the colonial rulers. So I think, again, based on that model and that example, I think that's the same thing that happened in America.
Yeah,
but I tell you what, before we go any further, man, I'm gonna play something real quick, and I ain't got no visual for it, but hopefully you can hear it, and this is what I think about this religion shit. Get a little bit queenish at the end of that motherfucker, but I mean, I've always, since I was like maybe 19, 20 years old, I've been into the Kemetic type sciences or the esoteric, Gnostic kind of, I've been into that kind of philosophy, precisely because I was kind of disenchanted with some of the literality, the fundamental literal dissemination of spiritual literature. I was like, this shit is it's childish. But when you start to look at the esoteric meanings behind it, and then you couple it with and link it up to philosophy, you'll understand what much of this shit really actually symbolizes and what it means. Now, it can be utilized for evil or subjugation or indoctrination, but in my viewpoint, all religion, whatever form of religion it is, it's metaphorical and it's an allusion to metaphysical principles. And it should be also an allusion to epistemology. But I'm not gonna, go into the depths of that shit on a show like this. This has been Short Bus Saturdays. It's intentional. Right. Design is to react to various shorts that people have put out on social media, and for us to react to. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm glad to be in conversation with these brethren here on this Saturday, man, and hopefully, I haven't, seen Ian and Marcus together in the same space in a minute, so I'm glad to see that shit. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they'll come back next Saturday and fuck with your boy. You know what I mean?
So, I'm going to jump. I'm going to jump now because we approaching 4 hours. Yeah, it was cool kicking it. We could do this same bat time, same bat channel. Next week I'll probably be on the East Coast. Yeah, I probably will Saturday. I'll let you know where I end up being, man, but we'll work it out, man. But no doubt, man, we could do this on a separate jump off, more appropriately titled You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
so I mean, look, I don't have a problem with going over and discussing these issues at anymore, at length. I don't care. Like we can do it. We whatever. Just holler at me. So I know your platform is back online, so we can do it on yours or whatever. It don't matter.
So I'm about to holler at this steak and eggs right quick. So
hey man, I'm about to go get me something to eat right now. I might not be steak and eggs. It might be motherfucking Chick-fil-A, but I'm about to go get something.
All right. So I'll holler at y'all's, man. And let's do this again next week, man.
For sure, man.
Appreciate
Be peaceful,
y'all.
man.
Appreciate y'all.
No doubt.
Peace out, man.
Peace out. 100.
100, man.
100.
All right, Ian, man. You got anything you want to leave us with, man? You got any comment?
Yeah, man. I think that was good, man. I think, you know what I'm saying, the highlight, the Short Bus Sunday, you know what I'm saying, is a necessary program, you know what I'm saying, because we need to go over, because there's a lot of disinformation, you know what I'm saying, and indoctrination going out amongst the masses, you know what I'm saying, and we need to correct that, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I try to be part of the process of correction if I can. Sometimes I'm probably sure I'm wrong sometimes, as I'm human, but I try to give counterbalance the conversation. We got too much of one kind of narrative consistently being browbeaten over black men, over their heads and stuff. And so, what I try to do is give a counter narrative, offer different alternative approaches, to seeing what's going on with us and interpreting what's going on with us, man. So that's all I try to do, man.
Yeah.
But peace out to you. Peace out to everybody in the chat. All the people who supported me this afternoon. From Cornbread, he says, How to Make a Negro Christian by Kamal McKessie Tahuti. No, he's Kemetic. Says that most were converted in the late 1800s and early 1900s. He uses U.S. Census records to show this, in that the census collected baptism records. Yeah, I mean, the country was founded in 1776, and, the vast majority of the slaves were going to be brought here more than likely in the 19th century. So that's no strange surprise to me there. Super Duper says it wasn't forced on us. In fact, we formed our own church, the AME, the African Methodist Episcopalian, during slavery. We dwell too much on the religion in the wrong way, in my opinion. Shout out to him. Shout out to Ignatz Mouse for his super chat sticker. Max Soul Excellence, he says, for our cause. And Big Kev, again, he says, I'm at a family reunion. Shout out to the panel. And I know at least one individual hit me up on a super chat. Well, actually, Romella hit me up twice. So thank you for your kind donation, sir, on this very fine Saturday. Appreciate you. And I will see you guys sometime next week, man. I don't know when, but it'll be sometime next week. I'll probably be chilling tomorrow and Monday. But I'll definitely be back sometime in the week.
Keep Dark Ghettos in mind.
Yeah, I want to revisit that, man. I pulled back away from it for a while because I think, I was browbeating, you guys over the head with it too much. And, anything that you give people that's abstract in heavy doses, they're going to want to get a hit of that adrenaline coming from talking about, like, what's going on. And, they want to deal with the shit like Umar and, whatever the woman's name, the Pope lady. And they want to deal with shit going on with Jonathan May. They want popular events and reaction shit. So, this is more abstract. So, not to say that there's no interest in it at all, but I mean, it's abstract, so it's going to be difficult for people to hold their attention to. You know what I'm saying? So, I gave them a break. I'm going to get back to it. Trust me. Trust and believe. I'm going to get back to it. So, but appreciate you, Ian, man. Glad you're back, bro. And no, I didn't ban you, dog. I don't know how the fuck you got banned on my shit. I never did, bro. So I don't get it. I'm confused. Swear to God, bro. I don't understand. So, but I saw that shit. I was like, how the fuck is he banned? Like on my channel. I don't get that shit. I don't understand it. But YouTube does some weird shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So anyway, man, peace out, man. I will holler at y'all. And fuck with y'all on the next one, man. Y'all be peaceful.